Welcome everybody to another wonderful African safari. This is a group of zebra and you are watching Safari Live. Wow everybody, just before I introduce myself, look at these racing zebra. How crazy is this? Look at them. I don't know what has spooked them, but they're racing across the road. How crazy was that? Well, welcome everybody. What an exciting start to another safari this afternoon. My name is Tayla and on camera this evening we've got Zander. Zander, give us a wave. There, he's got a thumbs up this afternoon. So, I have a suspicion as to where these zebra are going to go. There's a dam not too far from here, so why don't we head on over and go and wait for them. It's known as Red Dam, which I'm sure a few of you viewers are well familiar with, where there's usually a hippo in there. So while they're hiding in the thicket now, can we get another shot? Let's see, we might get some bums, possibly. Because they've all stopped quite nicely. They just gave us a very quick glimpse. Maybe I'll get them if I go back a little bit more. It's very, very windy here this afternoon, everybody. But what a great way to start. Just go back a little bit more. I don't know, I think you're just going to see stripes disappearing into the thicket. And I'm hoping that they keep up this pace, because if they do, in absolute no time, they are going to be at that watering hole. How exciting is that? I'm pretty excited for that. So let's head towards that dam, I think. I think that's going to be our best bet. Rightio. So remember, this is actually a live safari, everybody. If you'd like to get hold of us, you are welcome to send in any comments or any questions to either hashtag Safari Live if you are on Twitter, and then we also have an email option, so you can email us at questions@wildearth.tv. So Zander and I are obviously quite new to Safari Live, so it's always fun when between the two of us trying to navigate on the property. So I'm having to rely on GPS and on map this afternoon, and now we are looking for a road to the right, and hopefully that is the right road that we go on and we don't go driving on another piece of property that we shouldn't. Okay, this seems right. We'll go in here. Over we go. So that dam, I think, is in that direction over there. So that's sort of where we're going to be heading. Right, everybody, while we try and find this dam, and hopefully with some zebras drinking from it in a little bit, I know that Jamie and David would love to say hello to you.
We would very much like to say hello to you, so a big thank you to Tayla for allowing us that opportunity. My name is Jamie, and this afternoon I have a dazzling Dave on camera with me, and welcome to the Sunset Safari on a scorching warm day on Djuma Private Game Reserve. It really is, days like today, it's not hard to see just how bad the drought has really got in South Africa. The sun is blazing, the sky is white, and the wind is howling and just blowing dust everywhere. And really, I'm so desperate for it to rain. I cannot tell you, and I'm scared to actually say it out loud, but I'm going to try. And Brian, of course, has been predicting early rain. Dave, what was your date? 18th. What date is it now?
Today's 16th.
Yes, so Dave's birthday, the 18th of October, which is in 2 days' time, is when he has predicted rain, and I'm hoping that he's going to prove to be a complete... Oh, sorry. September. I barely know what day of the week it is, let alone month. Month is getting too difficult. Sorry. It's September, apparently. Who knew? Either way, it would be really nice if it rained. And just speaking of birthdays, just by the way, a quick mention to the fantastic gentleman who remains somewhat camera shy despite his many months working for WildEarth. It is Connor's birthday today. Now Connor works for our tech team. So he is what really, our tech team are really what keep the wheels turning, fighting off gremlins on a daily basis. It is young Connor's birthday, so a very big happy birthday to Connor. I hope he's had a marvellous day. Everybody came round to Inga's for a little swim before drive on this hot afternoon. I hope that he's having a great time. Are you going to be cooperative, Mrs. Batelier? Oh, there were 2 steenbok in there. No, there was 1 steenbok and 1 duiker. They've both just dashed away at high speed. I think we took them very much by surprise. So there we go. Starting off our afternoon on the Sunset Safari with a beautiful female Batelier. For our new viewers who happen to be jumping on board this safari for the first time, we know it is a female because of all of the raptors, it's probably the easiest to tell the difference with Bateliers. And if you look carefully, she's all white underneath her wings with just this thinnest strip of black lining the edges. If she were a male, she would have half black and half white. There you go, Batelier, named for the old French word for tightrope walker, or so the story goes, because of their peculiar way of flying, which is of course because of their lack of a tail. Not a lack of tail, they do have a tail, it's just incredibly short and barely visible. And she must be battling the winds up there, twisting and turning and soaring like a tightrope walker balancing on a tightrope. Definitely one of the most striking birds. It led to that an old local belief that the Batelier is the embodiment of either the embodiment of a creator or the first animal that was ever created. And the Batelier was there when the sun first rose, when the earth first began, and will be there when the sun finally sets on the last day for Earth. An interesting little tale, but you can see why with their beautiful plumage they attracted these incredibly powerful emotional beliefs. And for some bizarre reason, I don't know why I said this once, but if Steph were a bird, I feel like he'd be a Batelier. I don't know if that makes any sense. Right, we're going to go on search of our lovely Queen Karula we had this morning on the sunrise drive. In the meantime, it seems as though Tayla has found something very large and rather brownish.
These buffalo are doing exactly what I would be doing this afternoon if I had the day off. You can see it's quite a big herd. A lot of them have actually already got up and left the water and have gone over the top of the dam, so you can't really see them too more, but I estimate probably about 50 buffalo here. It's a really lovely breeding herd. And we've also got a hippopotamus who was eyeing me out the other morning, as you can see over there. Hello, hippo. And Terry the terrapin was also on this hippo's back, but got startled when we arrived. And there were a few vervet monkeys hanging around, but they seem to have moved off. Maybe they decide to pop up again. And I think this dam is going to be extremely productive this afternoon. And I can see the zebras actually coming in too. Can you see them just up on top of the crest?
Oh, there.
There they're on their way. Ah, that's fantastic. You'll see them. They're just coming through the thicket a little bit further to the right. There they are. Look at that. Woohoo! Ah, I love it when things work out the way that I've said. Thank you, animals, for making me look good this afternoon. Normally it's the opposite. Normally I'll say something and then they change their minds and do the complete opposite. Like I said, it's extremely windy down here, so these animals have got a little bit of shelter though in this watering hole, which is quite nice. You can see it's quite steep. The banks are very, very steep. So it's providing a little bit of shelter. And I think that these buffalo were possibly resting here for most of the day. Now you can still see a few of them ruminating, and slowly but surely they're all going to get up and they're going to move off and try and find a little bit of grass to eat. But at least they were here. So it's amazing how you can have so many different animal species coming down to drink at one watering hole. Can you see that oxpecker
Yeah.
in the water there? Have a look at this. Look at this oxpecker. No, come back. This one's camera shy, obviously. It was just in the water, cooling himself down, having a nice little bath. Even the birds on hot days like this get really, really warm and need to cool themselves down. Look at them now. They're cleaning their beaks on the buffalo's boss, having a good groom, fluffing their feathers. They're going to have to dry out. Look at them, even with their beaks open. So when they open their beaks like that, you can see that you know that they're warm. But isn't that funny to see them all wet like that? Having a great day. I wish they would go into the water again. It was really lovely to see. Now they're preening all their feathers, seeing if they can get rid of any parasites, pull out any old feathers that are about to drop off. Great. They're just also taking a break from cleaning the buffalo and instead feeding themselves. We're going to very quickly head over to Jamie. Jamie's got a raptor for you, and not quite as small as the oxpeckers.
Look at this incredible eagle. Isn't it absolutely magnificent? It is a martial eagle, the largest of the eagle species. And when Dave and I came round the corner, it was on the ground. And it's only when they're on the ground or close to you that you really get a sense of just how incredibly massive they truly are. And this is one very hot martial eagle. The reason its beak is open like that is it's panting in the heat. And I wonder if it hadn't tried to catch something and just missed it on the ground, because I double checked as we came past after it flew away and I couldn't see anything. Oh, they are amazing. Absolutely enormous eagles, capable of taking down, they have been known to catch baby impala and steenbok. That's an antelope species, and they are capable of catching them. That is how massive these eagles truly are. And so incredibly beautiful with that defined chest, that transition from brown to white with the speckles. And look at the massive, massive size of that bird's feet, of its talons. Just to give you an idea of just how incredibly powerful they really are. Magic. It's one of my favorite eagle species, and I'm so chuffed we've got a view of it, because I haven't had many good martial eagle sightings while I've been here. They've been limited. Shame, you can see how hot it is. It's panting. Let's go over to Tayla, see what bird she has found.
So everybody, I don't know if you can see, there's a little kingfisher of some sort. Now we're going to play a quiz this afternoon, just to make sure that you are watching and paying attention. I want to know, what type of kingfisher is this? I'll give you a clue. It's relatively small. It's probably about the size of, if you make your hand into a fist, it's probably about that size. So if you'd like to let us know what your answer is, you're welcome to #Safari Live on Twitter, or you can email us at questions@wildearth.tv. So would you like another look of that? I think let's have one more look of that kingfisher, just in case you didn't get a good enough view. Maybe take a screen capture. If you are going to use a book, a little bit to the right. There we go, there it is there. Then taking a screen capture would maybe be a good idea, just so that you can refer back to it. You can see now as well, the buffalo are moving off. Look at that. See them? We're down to 2. And they are all moving up and over the top of the dam. And we are waiting for the zebras to come down. So I'm hoping that once these buffalo move out, the zebras are going to feel a little bit more comfortable. It's quite windy, so they are quite hesitant. All I can do is just see the stallion in the distance glaring over at us, waiting to come in. Maybe you can see there, you can see their tails swishing quite a bit. But it is not such a lovely herd of zebra coming through there. My goodness. Come on, Zebbies. Come on down for us. Really interesting though with the zebra. I know we only got them racing across the road, which is quite exciting, but something else that's fascinating with them is that they live in harems. So you get one male with a group of females, and he is obviously in charge of the girls. He's quite bossy as well. When we first sighted them, he actually came through and he found his favorite mare, and he came over and gave her a good little rub on the head, and they groomed each other for a little bit, and then something spooked them and then they ran. And so when they're moving around, there's no sort of order, they just eat. But when they come to the water, that's when that male comes into the lead again, and he'll lead them down to the watering hole. Let's see if they're going to make the move. We've got, see, they're slowly coming around. They're obviously going to come around to that spot where the buffalo are heading up and away from the water. I think that's quite a big game path, and I think it's a well-used game path that the animals particularly like to use. Sure, some really big buffalo here. It's so nice. While we wait for these zebra to come down, they are really testing our patience this afternoon, but I think it will definitely be worth it. We're going to hang around here, and I'm going to send you back over to Jamie to see if she's having any luck with finding Karula.
We are still with our incredible martial eagle. And it's difficult to get a sense of scale, of course. When you're looking at something in a tree, it's quite tricky to get an idea as to just how large it is when you're watching through the eyes of the camera. So, to give you a perspective, the maximum wingspan of a martial eagle is 2.6 meters. What does that equal in feet? That must be close to 8 feet. It might even be over 8 feet long. That's taller. That's wider than I am tall, considerably. By basically, 3 feet. It is absolutely massive, and at its heaviest, probably looking at around 6 or so kilograms, which is just over 12 pounds. This is a really seriously solid bird, and when you look at the crushing power of those talons, you can imagine the amount of damage that it can do. It's the largest eagle species in Africa, as far as I know. Oh, having a good scratch. Aren't you beautiful? I do hope you decide to come and nest somewhere here. That would be very convenient. I wonder what's wrong with it. Got something in its beak. It stopped panting for the moment. I'd love to have known what it went for. These birds are ferocious predators of anything from scrub hares, as I said, small antelope, scrub hares, small rodents, snakes, even legavans. Imagine watching an eagle like this catch a monitor lizard. A legavan, by the way, is in the South African colloquial name for a monitor lizard. You can see the wind gusting and blowing up the crest at the top of its head every now and again. So wonderful. I'm tempted to try and sneak up on it. Now that we've had a good view. Hold on, it's going to go... No, it's just cleaning its bill. Obviously something got stuck. It's clearly bothering it. Yeah, another good scratch, another good clean. A fierce, powerful look in its eyes. Okay, shall we try a sneak? Yes, let's try. There's a road that runs just behind that tree. It would also seriously help us with the light. It would give us an amazing position for the light, I think. Now let's give it a go. We've had a wonderful view of it. Let's try going around and looking at it from a different perspective. Please don't fly, Mr. Eagle or Mrs. Eagle. So while we play the stealth game, we're obviously having an exciting birding afternoon for the start of the sunset safari. Let's go and see if you can figure out what kingfisher Tayla has found.
So we're just having another look at this kingfisher again. Has anybody got any ideas yet as to which kingfisher it is? Any guesses? It actually just dove down into the water now, which was quite exciting. So it's obviously fishing. But let's have a quick look at our friend the hippopotamus again, because I think, let's give it a girl's name. Let's go. Teresa the terrapin is back. Hello, Teresa. I don't know if it's a male or female terrapin. It's quite hard to tell. But you can see the terrapin's quite happy that the hippo has settled down again. And it has crawled up onto the hippo's back. So this terrapin is just bathing itself in the sun now. Obviously they need to keep nice and warm in order for them to be quite active. And something what you see which is quite exciting is you'll see the terrapins going underwater, and then the next minute you'll see something like a buffalo or hippo like jumping out and getting a bit of a big fright. And they'll also feed on the parasites, on the ticks that are on either the buffalo or the hippos when they are laying in the water. I've actually seen it with rhinos before, where a terrapin has grabbed onto something that obviously wasn't a tick, and it got a little bit of a fright and jumped and leaped out of the water. But it's not uncommon either to see a hippo with just completely covered in terrapins. I think the most terrapins I've managed to count before on a hippo were 50. Can you imagine 50 terrapins covering the back of a hippo? It was quite a sight. My friend the hippo is moving a little bit. Very hot, I think. I'm hoping that the hippo will decide to do a big roll and maybe even manage to do a complete rollover in the water to cool itself down. hiding his head completely now. So this is a male hippo, for those of you that have just joined us. And the reason that I can assume that it's a male hippo is it's because it's on its own. Normally the females will occupy a pond or some water, and there'll be more than one of them. It's unusual to just see one female hippo on its own, whereas the male hippos mark and defend territory. So they don't just have territories in the water, they have territories out on land too. And this is either going to be a very old hippo, but I don't think he looks very old. I don't think he has too many scars on him. I think he's in the prime of his life at the moment. This is one of the few watering holes he has. Look how that terrapin is balancing, legs out. I think that's what I look like when I put a bikini on and I suntan. Isn't that beautiful? Such a lovely scene. So we're going to head on back over to Jamie again, who's finally got a decent view of the martial eagle.
We've managed to sneak around and have a look at this martial eagle from a different perspective. You can see the feathers at the top of its head blowing up, revealing that crest. And while we were repositioning, whilst I'm not sure that it's necessarily what it was hunting, I can tell you that there is a creature somewhere here that is seriously unimpressed with the presence of the martial eagle. And that is a little group of dwarf mongoose. We can't see them from where we are at the moment, but I can hear them. And they go, well, actually you might not be able to hear them from here, but they're going... It's the most alarmed I think I've seen or heard a dwarf mongoose since the snake incident on one of our sunset safaris a couple of months ago, where they were being harassed by a spitting cobra or something similar. So they are exceptionally unimpressed with the presence of this incredible aerial predator. Their keen eyes have spotted him. I'd have thought, but I don't know whether or not this is the case, and I'm actually going to ask around and find out if anyone knows anything more. And perhaps we can ask Tayla as well, is whether or not marshals will come down and rest in the shade when it's a hot day like today, because you know, obviously on a really hot day in summer, when there's leaves on the trees, then they can go and shelter in the lower branches and shade themselves from the sun in that way. I was just wondering whether on a beating hot afternoon it might not have decided to go and settle down in the shade of the tree, making sure it had an escape route planned. Obviously that makes them a great deal more vulnerable. The fact that it was panting as heavily as it was when we first saw it definitely shows that at least temperature is affecting it in some way. Whoop. It'll be a combination of fecal matter, and then also, of course, because it's a bird. Oh, there it goes. I wonder if it's going to go back there. That's where we came from. Let's just sit for a moment and see whether or not it goes back down to the ground. Right, we've been talking about the massive size of this eagle, and it really truly is an incredible. And there's a very, very good question from Musical, who would like to know how it compares to the bald eagle of the North Americas. And of course, that's a question we very commonly get. I think there's an intrinsic comparison. And the answer is it's very, very similar in size. Now, I'm not entirely sure how much a bald eagle weighs, and I'm happy to hear from those of you who are in the know, who are more familiar with a bald eagle. I, of course, have never been to America. I would love to go, or to the Americas in general, and I would love to see. The bald eagle is definitely on my must-see list. I don't know exactly how big the bald eagle is in terms of weight. I think it is slightly smaller than the martial eagle, and I'm guessing that the wingspan is probably close, but maybe just a little bit smaller. You might find that the bald eagle's got a slightly longer tail. The martial eagle's got quite a short tail for a bird of this size. Shame it's panting again. Obviously, every flight is costing it. Also, I never thought I'd say this, but this martial eagle almost looks a little bit skinny. This bizarre thing to say, but it doesn't look very bulked out. But perhaps that's just the strange angle it's been at. So, those of you, please, who are more familiar with bald eagles and perhaps how much they weigh and compare in size to the martial eagle, please do send that information through on #SafariLive on Twitter, or email through to questions@wildearth.tv. This is probably something we have asked of you before, and if it is, I apologize. Impossible to retain each and every number and measurement and of all of the animals of the world, but I would like some help on that. I suspect the martial is ever so slightly smaller. Now, Gail, you wanted to know what is the difference between eagles that have feathers all the way down their legs and this one. He does actually have feathers all the way down to his legs. So the mark of a true eagle species is, of course, the fully feathered legs, unlike snake eagles, goshawks, and other such things. It just so happens that the feathers around his legs are quite neat and compact. You could probably think of that as that narrowing as maybe a way of helping to not to obscure the feet when it's going in for a tight landing on some kind of prey item. It does, I promise, have feathers all the way down to its feet. It might not have been that easy to see, but I'll show you a picture in my book and it'll give you a slightly better idea. The only eagle species out here that does not have feathered legs is the fish eagle, which is why it's actually separately classified as a species separate or distinct, or genus distinct from the... I've lost my train of thought. Oh, the other eagles. I'm sorry. I went completely blank there. The Latin name, Palmatus bellicosus. There you go, there it is there. I would love to know what that means. Palmatus bellicosus. Bellicosus? You know, of course, I bought Brent that book of Latin bird names for his birthday, and ever since I've been fascinated, he's left it here. He's just gone on leave and he's left it, which means I get to raid it and have a look at the different names of different birds. Awesome. Lovely, lovely martial sighting. he hasn't gone back down to the ground. Perhaps whatever it was either a failed hunting attempt or a shading effort. Right, I'm going to continue on my search for the Queen of Juma, what I'm trying to say. Let's head back across to Tayla, who I think has got the right idea, staking out the waterhole.
So we're still waiting for the zebra to come down. However, we've got 2 more buffalo who have decided, or now they look like they have changed their mind again, that they came right to the top of the dam wall and looked down as if they were going to come through and have a drink. I did hear them trying to communicate with the rest of the buffalo who have now moved off completely, and I wonder if they said, you know, too late, you snooze, you lose, you're missing out on this drink, or you're going to get left at this watering hole. And I think they're contemplating, should we go thirsty, or should we risk hanging around at this watering hole and getting caught by some lions? You can see the zebra haven't really moved at all. Now zebra, come on now, we've just told everybody that you are going to come down and drink some water. Okay, he's listening to me, the stallion over there. So please don't make me look silly. Please come down and give us a drink, and I really hope they do. Just because I know how much zebra like horses, they're in the same equus family, they absolutely love water. I think they'll come right in, seeing as it's a nice hot day in the bush. But the wind is gusting. I think it's the windiest day it's been since I've been here. And normally we say that on really windy days we don't see much, but how's this? It's like I said, it's the windiest day we've had so far, or I've had so far since I've been here. Yet we have probably gone a total of 1.5 kilometers away from Duma, and we have seen so many different animals already. How incredible is that? Come on, Zebby, I saw you take a step. Or maybe he was just shaking his legs, swatting some flies. See him just looking through there. Yes, we're talking about you. Oh, maybe I can speak to animals. No, I meant come back, don't go away. I just actually said this to Xander. I said, you know what they could do? They could end up turning away and going away from the watering hole. Look at them all there. What's going on? The oxpeckers flew. Someone got upset. I think maybe it's got something to do with the wind. Maybe they're not 100% certain of coming down here, but now they all seem to be moving away from the water, which is so disappointing. Hopefully they come back a bit later. Zebras normally will drink about twice a day, so I'm hopeful that they will come back later. Hopefully the wind dies down. Oh, and well, seeing as the zebra don't want to be viewed, the terrapin's come back and is at a different position on the hippo now. This time we can get a terrapin bum shot. There we go. So Fran, Joanne and Alice, congratulations. You said that it is a malachite kingfisher for my bird quiz. Well done, you are indeed correct. I haven't seen a malachite kingfisher in ages, so it was really, really nice to see one of them rather than just seeing the old brown-hooded kingfisher. So well done to the 3 of you. Congratulations, that was very well done. And those names are all very, very sounding more and more familiar, everybody. So I'm sure those are some of our regular viewers that managed to get this quiz right. So don't feel too bad if you weren't sure as to what bird that was. It takes a bit of time. Birding doesn't just happen overnight. It takes lots and lots of practice. Like I was saying this morning, I still pick up my bird book and I always have a look and I always double check just to make sure. But thank you, hippopotamus and terrapin, for behaving so well, unlike the zebra. We've actually got 2 other birds here. Eggsy, or Xander, sorry. We've all got nicknames for each other and they always seem to slip out. But have a look at that bird over there. I'm not going to do a quiz on this one because this is too easy. This is a blacksmith lapwing, and there are 2 of them around, so I'm pretty sure it's male and female. They are monogamous, so they will actually mate for life, and maybe they even have a nest close by. But they are typically found around areas like this where there's a bit of water, They love to go wading through the water, pecking at little insects, surface insects, or any little flies that are maybe sitting in the mud, like that one is doing over there. Just making sure. Jason wants to know if the dirty water affects the animal's health. Jason, it's half and half. This is a difficult question, in the sense that yes, it does. If you have an animal that dies in a watering hole, it can indeed be very it sort of pollutes the water, obviously, and then it's not that great for the animals to drink. Also, when you have too many hippos in one small watering hole, with all the feces and the urine that they are depositing in this watering hole, this can obviously also cause serious pollution. And I've seen it before where too many hippos in a watering hole have actually killed off all the little fish and all the other little organisms that were living in there. So luckily though, for these animals, this watering hole doesn't look too bad. As murky and as muddy as it is, I don't think they mind coming down to have a drink at the moment. But you can see the buffalo did a great job of leaving some presents behind for the rest of the animals. But remember, the animals, though, Jason, they've also got very, very strong digestive systems, much stronger than what we have. So if I were to go and drink this water, I'd probably pick up all sorts of things like bilharzia, all sorts of other parasitic worms. It would not be good for us to drink this water. I think even if I had to boil it 100 times, I'd be quite reluctant to have a sip from here. I'd much rather go into one of the dry riverbeds and actually try and dig for water there and then give it a boil. At least it would have been filtered through the nice sand. It would also be nice and cold and refreshing. Maybe if I didn't have a fire, I'd probably even risk having a little drink from water that I've dug from a riverbed. I think we're going to hang around here for a little bit though. I'm not planning on leaving this watering hole. There is a monkey. Hang on, let me reposition everybody. I'm going to go stealth mode down here. I can get the handbrake off. You see the little vervet monkey? Here it is. We're having so much luck with the vervet monkeys. That looks like quite a big vervet monkey. So from here, I'm going to be brave enough and say that that looks like a male. I love that white stripe that's almost across the top of their heads. It's quite funny. I wonder where the rest of the family are. Otherwise, it isn't also uncommon to see just one male on his own. Let's see. He's seen us. Looking at us, looking away. Not sure what to do. But earlier, this is the monkey that I was telling you about that was having a little drink. Are you going to come through and have another little sip of water? No, you're watching us carefully now. Oh, hello. You must be able to understand English, monkey. Yes, come here and have some water. Drink for us. There we go. Found a little pool. Not sort of on the main side of the water, just a little puddle. You can also see one of the acria butterflies fluttering around. And it's actually quite interesting. You can see a few of the different butterflies and wasps and bees and flies and things around there. And notice how they're landing on the wet patch of mud. And that's actually called mud puddling. Oh, there we go. That's definitely a male. You can see by the bright blue testicles. That is the signature of the vervet monkey. But sorry, let me get back to just telling you quickly about what mud puddling is. I don't know, can you see them still there? You see they normally sit on elephant dung, or sometimes you'll see them, yes, you see them fluttering around the bottom left of your screen. And what they're doing is they're landing on that moist, whether it's mud in this case, sometimes they do it on fresh animal dung as well. And they are picking up all the different nutrients, so from the magnesium to the calcium to the sodium, and that's what they are feeding on when they do that. And that's always often a good opportunity to take a photo of a butterfly, is when it is either sitting on a flower feeding on nectar, or if it is feeding on the different nutrients that you get in the mud or on the animal dung. But that was really nice to see. We're going to start seeing a lot more of that coming into the summer months too. Oh, our terrapin is moving. Just had a quick glance. Let's go back. Terrapin, you're repositioning. Did you see that little leg just swish out to the side there? Come on, do that again. That was quite funny. Even at this angle, you can see little bits of hair that are covering the hippo. Can you see that? If you look very, very closely. And the hippo is moving a little bit. Open your mouth. Open your mouth, hippo. We want to see your nice teeth. Now you're going under. And just do a big roll so you can roll that terrapin off your back too. We all need a good laugh this afternoon. Come on, open up. Look at those nostrils, blowing the water around. Probably frustrated that we have come and disturbed this hippo. It was having a nice siesta when we first arrived, and then the buffalo started getting out, so I'm going to blame it on the buffalo. That's who disturbed the hippopotamus this afternoon. There we go. Go back to... Jamie's got one of my favorite animals, a warthog.
I'm learning more and more about Tayla every day. I didn't realize that the warthog was one of her favorite animals. She shares that in common with Tara, who was one of our directors when I first started working here. Tara always used to squeal in our ears whenever she saw warthogs. They're one of her absolutely favorite creatures. So there we go. Something Tayla has in common with Tara. I also love warthog. I don't think they're ugly at all. I think they're quite fascinating to look at as they snuffle about. Sure, they might not be a leopard, but they are beautiful in their own way. Okay, not beautiful, that's a bit of a stretch. They're not ugly. Either way, we've got a young male here. The reason I know that, of course, is I've done a quick wart count on his face. He's got 4, not 2. And he's snuffling about. So he's young still. His tusks haven't fully grown. And what I've seen them doing now for the first time, well, not the first time, but interestingly enough, is actually shift around the dead wood to see if they can't get to anything that might have been sheltered and growing underneath it. We've seen elephants doing that quite frequently at the moment. And warthogs are an animal that really seem to be hard hit by the drought. These two don't look too bad. They're not in the worst condition I've seen. Some of the warthog around here are looking horribly skinny. These two look okay. Might be a young male and a female, his mother. Hard to tell at this point. His tusks have only just started to come through. You can see the tail swishing away, trying to get rid of the flies. The one thing the wind does, I must say, is it does keep the flies a little bit at bay. Yeah, if I had to guess, I'd say the one on the left is ooh, it's hard. I was about to say female, but I might actually be wrong. And they do live in little sounders. No, she's a she. She is definitely a she. So there we go, mom and sub-adult male offspring. They live in little sounders, in other words, collection of warthogs, little family groups. The boars are often solitary. They sometimes go and associate with females and their youngsters, just hang about with them, safety in numbers and all of that. And then the females will often join together with even an unrelated female, but often their daughter, their adult daughter, or perhaps a sister, and raise their little piglets together. Interestingly enough, somebody tells me, word on the street, or word on the bush, I suppose, I don't know if we can call it word on the street, that we've had our first sighting of brand new warthog piglets. Now, that's exceptionally early to me. I would be only expecting little piglets in the next month or so. So I was very surprised to hear that at some point in the middle of the day today, a family of warthog made their way down to the Djuma Dam, including brand new little piglets. How wonderful is that? Little baby warthogs are the cutest things. I'm quite excited that that's a prospect we can start looking forward to. I hadn't even thought about the prospect of baby warthogs. The females are definitely going to have their work cut out for them. The warthogs have a breeding season. just like impala and wildebeest. It's not quite as strict as the impala birthing timing. Impala have quite a she might even be pregnant, you know, now that I've started chatting about that. Might be imagining it, but I don't think so. She does look quite round-bellied. It's all right, girl. Watching us closely, making sure that we're not up to any shenanigans. And the wind, of course, making all of our animals very, very nervous. It's okay, girl. Yes, it's all right. We're still here, but we don't mean any harm. And I think she's checking you out, Dave. Definitely. No. It does feel as though she's slowly creeping closer from bush to bush. And the thick, tufted fur at the top of her neck and then on the sides of her cheeks, a way of just looking large and intimidating. I saw the biggest warthog I think I've seen while I've been here on Cheetah Plains not too long ago. But Tayla, one of the things she remarked upon when she first started, when she did her interview drive, she said that our warthogs here in the northern Sabi Sand are bigger than those in the southern Sabi Sand, which I'm surprised by. I wouldn't have expected that, to be completely honest. I would have said the warthogs down south would be larger. It's a general trend. The rivers are down south, and therefore the general food quality is slightly better. So a fascinating little observation. That's why it's so wonderful to have so many different perspectives. I wonder if they know where Karula is. I lost her not far from where we are. I haven't seen any tracks coming out. The only thing that there is one possibility is because a whole elephant herd walked through, is that they might have stepped on top of her tracks. So perhaps that might be an explanation for where she's gone. But let's go and check. Our warthogs, I think, are content to stand in the shade for now. They're actually too hot to even feed right now. So let's go and do an investigation around Ingwe Alley and see whether or not we can't figure out exactly what's happened to Karula and where she's gone. I'm really hoping she makes a kill, or has made a kill. This morning on the sunrise safari, she was very determinedly hunting. And just before I lost sight of her, she was within a tail hair of catching a duiker. And hello? I wonder if the ellies have just found her for us. I don't think so. I think that was an ellie on ellie scream. Oh, well, let's go and investigate that as well. But yes, that duiker this morning jinked just as Karula was about to catch it. It changed direction and got away. It's the luckiest duiker in the world. Presumably, unless she's caught it since. No, ellies, what's got you so cross? An important thing to remember today is that the elephants are going to be on edge. They're not going to be terribly happy with life. It's hot. Then you throw in the fact that they're hungry. They've had to walk further and further to find food. And it's windy. And you've got a recipe for slightly upset elephants. Especially if they've come through now and found Karula. Although I'm not 100% sure that's why they were screaming. But we'll just do quite a gentle, tactical approach here. While we make our way around, Debbie in Vancouver, as always, lovely to have you on the Sunset Safari. He wanted to know whether or not the plural of warthogs was warthog or warthogs. I think it's warthogs. Plural of hogs, hogs. I don't know why the sentence is so complicated. I was thinking, no, I'm pretty sure it's warthogs. Unless I've lost my mind completely, I'm pretty sure it's warthogs. One warthog, many warthog. You see, it kind of sounds right either way. One warthog, many warthogs. What do you think, Dave? Warthog, warthogs? I think it's warthogs too. Where are these? I think these ellies are a little bit too far into this bush here. Let's try. Okie dokie. Well, I'll search for any sign of a queen and check out what these elephants are so upset about. Let's head back across to the hippo at Red Dam.
So while we've been sitting here at the dam, we haven't moved at all. And now, as I've started speaking, the Cape Classy starlings have flown off, but never buffalo weavers. Oh, that one is a drongo that's in there, but can you see the buffalo weaver that just chased the drongo away? It's very cheeky. There's so much water to go around, yet they are still all fighting over it. It's so nice to see so many different birds. It's actually really great to do birding now because it's so hot, so everybody's coming down for a drink. So hopefully we'll be able to see what all the other birds that I've been seeing. There was also a little bee eater. Where have you gone? Let's see if we can find the little bee eater. Where are you? I think the little bee eater maybe has flown off. Who else have we got? We've still got our kingfisher. Our kingfisher is still perched quite nicely. There it is. Hello. Just doing a little bit of fishing. Maybe there's some little cat. I think we need a bit of rain to encourage all the amphibious creatures to come out of hiding. So I'm not sure what this little one is going for. And there's also lots of other birds. Lots of drongos. It's quite. So did you know that not all kingfishers actually fish? It's quite crazy considering that their name has the word fish in it. But there's quite a few different species of kingfishers that are insectivores. So that means that they just feed on insects. So something like a brown hooded kingfisher we normally don't see near water, and they're predominantly eating insects. However, I have seen them catching fish and catching frogs before, so they will. But something like this malachite kingfisher will only eat things in the water, particularly little fish and little frogs. And it's perched itself quite nicely, just waiting to see if any little fish come towards all those branches to perhaps look for some shade. Now, there are incredible birds out there that have all sorts of different fishing techniques, and I have to tell you about some of my favorite birds that fish. So one of my favorite ones, let me try and get you a photo. While are you having a quick look at that kingfisher, I'm going to find a photo of a little egret for you. Let's go egrets. Let me have a quick look for that. And they are quite amazing. Egret. There we go. Almost there, everybody. Got to be a little bit patient with me. Have a look at this. Can you see this one over here? Zoom right in. Now, what I want you to see is, can you see the yellow feet? See how black legs and then the yellow feet? Now, what these little egrets will do is they will wade along very shallow water, and then often you'll just see them standing still, and you'll see them pecking down. Now, I've been very fortunate enough to actually watch them in some very clear water, and what I noticed that they do is their black legs blend in really well. They bury their feet in the mud a little bit, or they sink in because of their body weight. They wiggle their toes like this, and it looks like little worms moving through the mud. So, of course, the fish are going to come on over and take a nibble, and then unfortunately they get in the direct firing line of the cattle egret's bill, and they spears into the water and will grab a fish or a frog or whatever is unfortunate enough. Now, there's one more I want to show you. We've got to go to the herons. Maybe the herons are close by. Let me just double check here. Yes, herons are close by. to see if the one is here that I'm looking for. I'm looking for a black heron. There's the stalks. Right, I'm going to have to look at the back, unfortunately. H4 heron. Okay, it's a little bit further ahead from where I was. Okay, have a look at this one. See that? The black. Right, almost there. There we go. The black heron. You can actually see an image of what it's doing. See how it's formed an umbrella with its wings, tucks its head underneath, and on a very, very hot day, what happens is the fish are, like I've just said with the kingfisher, they come and they look for shade. And they come underneath and they think, oh, this is great. This is quite amazing to be sitting in the middle of the river or pond or wherever they are. And the fish think they're completely, at ease, relaxed, great, finally can cool down a little bit. And then the next minute, same thing. Wah! Bill comes into the water and stabs him and grabs him. So it's quite amazing how all these different animal species have adapted and worked out their own special little fishing techniques. I think let's go back to our friends, the lapwings, seeing as we're doing a bit of birding. Mr. and Mrs. Blacksmith. There they are. Still wading through the water. Now remember everybody, we're live, so everything that you see is happening right now. How incredible is that? So if you'd like to interact with us, you're welcome to either hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or you can send us your questions to questions@wildearth.tv, and I look so forward to hearing you. Does anybody have a particular favorite bird? Any ones of the ones that we've been looking at now? The malachite kingfisher, the lapwings, even the Cape glossy starlings that were here briefly, the drongo, the buffalo weaver. Does anybody particularly like those birds? I'm quite fond of them all. I love anything with feathers. I think they're such interesting creatures. See them pecking away there. Now, it'll be quite funny to see when or if the zebras or impala or anything like that decide to come along, because they will often upset the blacksmith lapwings, because they may have a nest in the area somewhere. They normally will nest in big open areas or near water like this, and they obviously start screaming and shouting at all the animals because they're not particularly looking for eggs on the ground. And that's the problem when you make your nest on the ground, is that it is vulnerable to animals standing on it, especially if a herd of elephant and buffalo come through here. They're also not particularly looking where they're going, well, not for something that small. Look at that, going through, going all the little insects. They seem to be very, very happy lapwings. So, James, thank you for remembering my favorite bird. So James has just added a little comment. So James remembered that my favorite bird is a Narina trogon, and unfortunately they don't occur in this area. You have to go sort of further towards the Drakensberg Mountains where there are some forests to find them. So he wants to know, what is my favorite bird that you find in this area? That's a hard one. I'm going to choose a bird that I think a lot of people overlook. My favorite bird, I think, in this area is a Cape glossy starling. So it's a bright blue bird when those feathers hit the sun, with a lovely orange eye. And there were a few around earlier. I'm sure that they will come back and visit us. So I like the underrated Cape glossy starling. Just their entire behavior is quite funny, especially when they do come down to the water and drink. I think they always put on such a nice show for you. And they're usually quite relaxed around the vehicles too. They also become very used to people. So often when you are in areas or picnic areas or in the Kruger National Park somewhere at a rest stop, there's obviously a lot of people around, and they tend to leave quite a bit of food, and unfortunately sometimes the people feed the wild animals, even the birds, which I'm not a huge fan of doing. So they are usually the first ones there, waiting in anticipation and not afraid of us at all. It only takes them a few goes before they realize that we're not really going to do anything to them. Them and the hornbills. The hornbills are like that too. I remember always having problems with yellow-billed hornbills and crowned hornbills In particular, crowned hornbills you don't see too often in this area, but they are around. And they always used to fly into the lodge at breakfast and eat all the fruit salad. And for some reason, they seem to like cheese. They would always go for all the cheese platters, which was quite funny. So just as the monkeys are pests, or can be pests, so can the birds. I have to tell you a funny story. I don't know how funny you'll find it, but we have got a group, or a flock, of arrow-marked babblers that live at camp. They were sort of pecking on the glass, and I've seen them before where they actually go underneath the windows that are sort of angled at a slanted at an angle, sorry. They open this much and sort of at a downward facing, and they'll still fly underneath it and back inside. How crazy is that? And they get inside and they eat all the bread and all sorts of goodies. And it's like they understand me, because I stood there and I shouted, I said, "Hey!" And they all stopped and looked at me, and they sort of did like a territorial display. They all started tackling away and flapping their wings, and they weren't too happy with me, and then they flew off again. So they're quite funny. So if you leave the kitchen door open, sometimes the squirrels get in, but at the moment I've noticed all the arrow-marked babblers around. They're quite a pest, but they're also quite funny. So maybe I'm going to try and get some photos for everybody so I can show you the group of arrow-marked babblers that now live at camp. Let's see what our friend the hippo is doing. Hippopotamus, what are you up to? Blair wants to know if oxpeckers have any enemies. Of course they've got enemies, Blair. Like any of the birds that are smaller and do not eat meat, they will fall, or can fall victim to some of the raptors. So anything from something like a lizard buzzard to a dark chanting goshawk, any one of those birds of prey would go for another bird if there was that opportunity. So they've always got to keep their eyes out. And of course, when the oxpeckers are chicks and they are nesting in trees, they've got to be careful of the different types of monitor lizards, and particularly the rock monitor lizard, which is quite a big lizard, looks like a baby crocodile, as well as snakes will also go for the chicks as well as the eggs. So unfortunately, there are no animals out here that do not have enemies. Even something like a lion has an enemy. Can you believe it? And you'd think that they're supposedly the king of the cats, and surely they'd have nothing to fear. But they've got to worry about other lions tackling them. Oh, hippo, I thought you were going to be the star of the show this afternoon. Come on, hippo, give us a roll around. Give us a roll around, hippo. I feel like that could be a good song. Trap wants to know if the drought is going to delay the arrival of the woodlands kingfisher. That's definitely a possibility. I wouldn't say that it's not going to happen, but last year the woodland kingfisher actually arrived early. They were arriving now in September already, so I've been listening out. I haven't heard anything yet, but we'll just have to wait and see. We didn't have very much rainfall either last year, so I think if we don't see them in the next 2 or 3 weeks, then I think yes, that possibly that the drought has indeed affected the arrivals of the woodlands kingfisher. But let's hope not. There's already the steppe buzzards are already back. The steppe buzzards, sorry, oh my goodness, what is wrong with the Wahlberg's eagles? Not even right bird. The Wahlberg's eagles came back a little bit earlier. I was seeing them down in the southern sections of the Sabi Sands about 4 or 5 weeks ago already, which was quite early. So you see them coming back sort of middle of August, beginning of August is not, I suppose it's not too unusual. The weather's nice and hot here. And imagine if it's so hot here now, imagine what it's like in the northern African countries, which sometimes their temperatures get even higher than us. So that also could be possibly with the whole global warming happening at the moment, with the temperatures rising throughout the world, is that the birds are slightly changing their times as to when they are going to migrate. We are noticing, though, birds staying longer, some of them not even leaving anymore, making a permanent resident here in South Africa when they normally would move to northern African countries, or some of them are palearctic migrants, which means that they'll move completely away from Africa. Let's go to our hippo again. So Pam and Liz say that the kingfishers are their favorite birds. Well then, just because you said that, Zander, let's have a look at our kingfisher then. Just so some of our viewers can have a quick look once again. He's still sitting there. And I don't blame you. My favorite is a half-collared kingfisher. And they are special birds. I don't know if you actually see them up here. I've never seen a half-collared kingfisher up in this area. But down in the Eastern Cape, we're prolific. We saw them all the time. We were actually very, very fortunate to see so many of them. I mean, we actually saw quite a few different species. We saw the half-collared, we saw the pygmy, we saw the malachite, we saw the giant, we saw the pied. Right, we're going to head over to Jamie and see what she's up to, and I see that the zebras are hopefully going to come down in the next 10 minutes or so. I'll catch up with you a little bit later.
Wow, we've just found crisp, beautifully clear leopard tracks heading through into the drainage line, not far at all from where we found Karula, or left Karula, this morning. So she's here somewhere, probably resting up in the shade, perhaps enjoying a little bit of time in the Tamboti thickets. I've got a horrible feeling she's put herself in the most impenetrable spot imaginable. There's a big Tamboti thicket just through here, and if she has gone to lie down in the shade, I have a horrible feeling that that's where she's gone, in which case it will be almost impossible for us to get to her. Might be worth leaving the area, going on a search for other things for the moment, and then returning as it starts to get a little bit cooler. Glunk! This is, after all, the place where I got my last flat tire. Now, the elephants that were trumpeting at each other, they are in the middle of a very dense block, so we are not off-roading for elephants at the moment, nor are we off-roading for things like buffalo, only for cats and wild dogs. And the reason behind that, I'm following my old tracks from when I was off-roading for Karula this morning. I'm not doing anything naughty. The reason behind that is we're just trying to reduce the impact that we have on the area at the moment, because the drought is so incredibly bad. And the effect's so incredibly pronounced. Whoopsies, thorns. We just avoid that for now. Okay. At the moment, all I've seen here on Ingwe Alley... Oh, where are you going? Rusty decided to take itself off on a walk. Is a red-billed hornbill. Sifting through... Not even old elephant dung, just sifting through the soil, looking for any insects that it could catch. Now, just talking about birds and catching insects, so the most fascinating sighting this morning, and I meant to do more research on it, but I ran out of time. We had an African hoopoe with a grasshopper that it looked like was trying to figure out how to eat it, and then just dumped it in a leadwood stump. And it made me wonder whether or not they store food. Or perhaps it just wasn't interested. The grasshopper might have been slightly too big for it, and it couldn't break it up enough. It doesn't have quite the robust bill of something like this red-billed hornbill that runs like a little dinosaur along the road. It was a very interesting sighting, and I want to do some more research on it and find out if they store food. There are certain birds that do store food, certain of the shrike species, for example. Forgive me, it's a hot day and I have my giant water bottle. Whew. Okay. Alrighty. Let's go see if we can't... Got one last place I want to check for Karula before we go back, waiting for those elephants to make an appearance on quarantine, because that's where they are heading to. Might be a really nice afternoon spent with elephants in a beautiful open spot. Afternoon station. Sorry, I was off my vehicle. There's Nkonzo for Karula, going still east along that drainage where we left her at Ingwe Alley towards Twin Dams Road. She's just here. She's got to be just here somewhere. I don't think she went out. Okay, copy. Thanks, Andrew. I just want to make sure I haven't missed her crossing towards the Mulwati somewhere. Now this morning, we had to change a flat tire, but we know that she didn't cross towards a little bit further to the east of us, which was the general direction that she was going in. And the reason that I know that with such certainty is a troop of monkeys not far away from where she would have popped out, and they would have spotted her. Monkeys have incredibly sharp eyesight, and they absolutely would have picked up on her movement through that area. One last try, one last circuit, and then we'll go back and catch up with those elephants. They also sound distinctly disgruntled, so having a nice open sighting of them will probably be the best way to go about it. Okie dokie. Let's keep our eyes peeled. On a hot afternoon like this afternoon, there is a chance, it's most likely that she's going to be lying down completely flat, panting, hopefully with a full belly, but she was looking very hungry this morning. But leopards are funny that way. And sometimes they move at the hottest time of the day, sometimes they even hunt at the time of the day. Might be worth doing a river cruise. Haven't done one of those in a while, and the Mulwati is one of her favourite spots, so if we missed her tracks, it's a good place to start our search. Now there is something about leopards and the connection that we have with them as human beings, and I don't know what it is exactly, but whenever you get new guests, one of the things that they immediately want to see is a leopard. And I don't know if it's the elusiveness, the elusive nature of the animal. There's something that intrinsically attracts human beings to leopards. And Oren, you wanted to know what my favorite thing is about leopards. Sure. That's a really, really difficult question, Oren. A really difficult question. I'm going to say, I think it's I'm going to say their self-contained nature. They're very comfortable in their own company. I think that's the little Dacre. Can you believe it? The luckiest Dacre in all the world. Well done, Mr. Dacre. You did well. Very well. I'm pretty sure that was the Dacre. We're right here, and it was a male that she was hunting this morning. One very fortunate Dacre. My favorite thing about leopards, I think, is they're solitary by nature, and they've got a very self-possessed air about them. Like, they're in control of everything. They're in control of their body. They're in control of what's happening around them. Constantly alert. They're so self-reliant on their reflexes and their speed and their strength. And I think that is probably my favorite thing about leopards, but it's a really difficult question. I think my other favorite thing is that they have serious characters. Lions do as well, but it's less I don't know if it's just because they're social cats. For me, it's less noticeable than it is with leopards. There's a very clear distinction between Karula, Say, and Shadow, or Shadow and Tundi, twin sisters, or from what I've heard from Kunuma and Quarantine. So Oren's raised a very good question. I'm going to flip it back to our viewers across the world and say, what is your favorite thing about leopards? What do you like the most about leopards? Is it their spots? So maybe, I don't know, is it their spots? Is it what is it that attracts us so much to leopard? What's your favorite thing about them? And I would love to hear that on hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, you know the drill, or questions at wildearth.tv. What's your favorite thing about a leopard, Dave? It's a hard question, isn't it? It's a very hard question. Okay, there we've got a really nice answer from Dave. That's actually a beautiful answer. He quite likes the white tips on their tails. Perfect. That's a very good point. Is one of their most noticeable features. I was talking this morning about Karula's tail, tick-tocking, backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. No, surely not. Now, the one thing that I was quite careful of, because when I went for a walk earlier, I noticed there were a lot of buffalo tracks, and we have no idea where that terribly injured buffalo is that Tayla's been trying to follow up on. We've got no idea where he's gone. And an injured buffalo like that is unbelievably dangerous to people on foot, especially on a windy day like today. I just wasn't really willing to walk through the dense vegetation. I mean, I didn't see any droplets of blood or anything. It could have just been a normal buffalo. But either way, it was enough to shorten my walk a little bit. And we had a question from Callie, which was whether or not Karula would hunt or go after that injured buffalo. No, she wouldn't try and kill it. That would be it's exceptionally unusual for leopards to hunt buffalo, and it's only really buffalo calves. And especially for a female leopard who's not quite strong enough to take down, there's no way she could take down a buffalo. But if that buffalo died, she would not be above scavenging from it. So if that buffalo were to succumb to its injuries, then absolutely she would go for it and scavenge. We've seen Karula scavenging off dead buffalo before. Right, we're going to go on a river cruise. While we go on a river cruise, we're going to just chat quickly about the very sad situation, because I know that it's something that a lot of you are talking about. I've only just found out as well about the Styx cub and the fact that very, very sadly they have lost another one. So that is now the 5th Styx, there's only 5 remaining. It's the 3rd Styx cub that has succumbed due to that mange infection. And it's absolutely tragic. And yet, in a way, when I last saw them, which was also with Dave, it was with Dave on Cheetah Plains, I looked at the littlest one, and I don't know if it's the littlest one, I don't know which one has died. Last time I saw them, there were 7. But I looked at that little one and I just thought, you poor thing, you are suffering so much. In a way, it's almost, it's not, it's very, very sad, but in a way, for me, it's almost a relief that they're not suffering anymore. Those poor little things, because that one cub was blindly stumbling. He walked straight under the wheel of the car. I was shocked. I was horrified, because I'd been on leave with the condition that those poor cubs were in. An utterly, utterly tragic situation. It's not nice watching animals suffer like they have been. And I know it sounds terrible, and probably some of you are going to get very cross with me. Not that I've ever wished it upon them, but I'm almost glad that the suffering is over for some of those little ones. Such a short and just such bad misfortune. Short, innocent little lives. Nature can be very, very cruel at times. The only thing we can hope now is that the Styx females, I know that Shanae saw them take down a buffalo yesterday, that the Styx females keep their little ones as packed full of nutrients as they can, and that the others will recover. I hope so. And the females as well, those poor things. You're not a leopard. You're a daker, I think. Straight ahead of me. You'll see him if you keep going. There we go. There's our little daker. On to slightly happier things and slightly happier questions. I was looking for a leopard. I found a duiker instead. Jeffrey in Texas was saying his favorite thing about leopards is their attitude and how they just know they are so cool. That's similar to what I was saying about that self-possessed air that they have about them. Everything is just so in control, and you're right, they are cool. Leopards are cool. Smile says cubs. Her favorite thing about leopards is leopard cubs. Fair enough. Can't argue with that. I mean, tiny little bundles of spots, and it's one of the reasons why I'm so determined to spend as much time as possible searching for Karula. I want to see her cubs again properly. This is one of her favorite spots. I once drove around the corner and she was right here. It was when there was more vegetation, of course, so I couldn't see. And she was lying here, on the floor, here. I got such a fright. I was really hoping that might be the case again, but unfortunately not. Oh, Nyala. Yes, okay, Smiles, fair enough. The cubs are pretty irresistible. I also like the fact that everybody has a different favorite leopard, if you know what I mean. Different individual leopards speak to different individual people. Goodness. I think I'm going to regret this. I know this is a dead end, but I'm checking anyway. I still think Dave's answer is a brilliant one. The white tip to the tail. Checking up in the trees. Last time we saw Karula, she was... Oh, hello. She was dangling a baby Nyala, a dead baby Nyala, from this tambuti tree. Oh, what a stunning picture that makes. Aren't you gorgeous, mister? A beautiful pair of male Nyala. I don't think they have a favorite thing about leopards, I have to be honest. I don't think we can include them in this question. Now that is a male Nyala in his prime. Horns fully grown, massively thick neck, powerful shoulders. Then you can see the tips of white at the tips of his horns, just starting to get their pale color. And the older he gets, the further that white tip will stretch down his horns. And the whole time we have been closely watched. While we've been watching the Nyala, we've found the tables have been turned. And if we look, now we have to try and show Dave where to look, and it's quite a tricky one. Okay, Dave, you see the straight tall tree at the base? Go about a foot down and to the right. Yeah, boy, keep going. I've lost it now. Yes, no, that is it. In the middle of the screen. Up a little. Ha-ha! Got you. We've been watched closely by a little family of dwarf mongoose. I didn't even see the second one. I didn't even know the second one was there. The only reason I saw that one was because it moved. It just happened to be scanning around us while I was chatting about the Nyala. And there we go. A fearsome predator. It might not be a leopard, but we shouldn't dismiss it just because we don't get to spend the same amount of time with them. My favorite thing about a dwarf mongoose is their beady little eyes. They look at you with curiosity. These are little guys. Remember, if it's the start of the sunset safari, let's pretend that entire sentence was not all jumbled together as one and try it again. At the start of the sunset safari, talking about the fact that the martial eagle had terrorized an animal, it was these little ones. Not this particular family, not this particular group, but this animal. I also really like their... Oh goodness, the word's gone straight out of my head. What do you call the black part of the eye? The pupil. Here we go. The shape of their pupils. They've got very peculiar looking, almost sideways rectangular pupils. But you have to get, hello, right up close and personal with them to see it. You can see they're already starting to gain confidence, even though this is a dwarf mongoose group that probably doesn't encounter people in vehicles. Oh, Dave, there's so many creatures. It just goes to show it's time to stop and sit and listen. There's a monkey here too. I don't know where it's gone. There was a monkey here. Yeah, you got him. There we go. Yes, I think you do. Well, there's one there. There's probably another one. No, that's a branch. Keep going, keep going. There's his tail. There we go. Well done, Dave. See? This is the place to be. Might not be where Karula is, but it's still a good spot. Okay, now that monkey's made life a little bit... It's not so bad. I wonder if this is the lone male that we've been seeing around the Mulwati recently. I didn't have a good chance to examine him or her to check that. Clinging on to the swaying branches. Imagine how motion sick you'd get. Blowing about in the wind like that. I suppose they're completely used to it. But look, I mean, look how much that monkey's moving. That whole tree is swaying. The monkey's moving about half a meter at a time. It's like being on a roller coaster. A really slow, very repetitive roller coaster. So not quite a roller coaster. A funfair ride. Also an animal that looks at you with bright, beady curiosity. I don't think it's the male. I started talking about the fact that I'd seen a troop of monkeys in this area before. I think this is one of the individuals. So they would absolutely have told us whether or not Karula was here. Or if Karula was here. We would have heard that sharp... Clearly my monkey impression is not good enough to fool him. And as our monkey slides out of view, apart from one droopy tail, let's head back across to Tayla, who has got another sharp-eyed creature.
Can you believe it? It's only taken the zebra an hour and a half to move, and they're slowly getting closer to the dam. Finally, Mr. Stallion in front over there has decided, right, I think it's time for a drink, and we've got a huge gathering of different species of animals. We've already got Mr. One-Horned Impala with a troop of baboons, a troop of vervet monkeys in hot pursuit. There you can see them all coming down. Look at that. That's quite interesting to see that impala with one horn, and the zebras are on their way down too. Here's going to be a great opportunity. You see, remember I told you, I said that those lapwings are going to be cross? Look there. They are not happy with all those different animals coming through there and disturbing them. So that's going to be quite funny to see. Hopefully they try and chase some of the animals away. Come on, zebra. You got to come gallivanting down for us. We've been waiting for you the entire afternoon. This is what we call Africa time, everybody, where, you know, when you go to a dinner or something, and it should start at 6:30, and your friend messages you and says, where are you, at 6:30, and you say, I'll be there now. Now could mean anywhere from 5 minutes away to 2 weeks away. So that's exactly what these zebra have done. They have done Africa time. Look how they've all formed in a line. That's incredible. It's like they're waiting their turn. Next customer, please. That's all I think of when I see these zebra like they're in a line at a shopping mall. That's so beautiful to see so many different animals. The monkeys jumping around, Mr. One-Horned Impala coming through to have a drink, who I'm sure is going to be disturbed by the zebra. Because once, no, not yet. Oh, zebra, come on. It's just going to take, you see the Impala looking back, because one of the zebras actually leaped out of the way. Let's keep a close eye on these zebra, because it's going to be quite interesting to see them coming down. That's a very steep bank, and now they're going the other way. Come back. There's a lot of zebra here. There's even another herd coming in at the back. So I reckon there's probably in excess of 20 zebra here. Andreen, hello Andreen, thank you for watching us. Andreen wants to know, is the wind making the zebra nervous, or is it the hippo that's possibly deterring them from coming to drink at this dam? No, I don't think so. So zebra are typically nervous when they come to water, which they rightfully are allowed to feel that way. Can you imagine if there was crocodiles and things near there? They're just scouting out. Also, it's a nice hot day. There's not a lot of grass around. The predators also like to lurk here. So it's not uncommon to find a pride of lions laying close by in the distance. So they're just scouting the area, just making sure. Finally, we've got our first contender after an hour and a half. Now, with the wind, what's happening there is it's affecting their hearing. And they can't hear very well. So they're having to rely on their eyesight, which is fairly good. Actually, very good. Zebra eyesight. Them and Impala can see quite well. Sorry, so I think it's a combination of things, but I don't think it's like we're seeing now. Eventually, they've decided, right, we're coming down, we're going to have a drink. Did you see that? That monkey almost got pushed in by the zebra. That was hysterical. And look at that, you're going to get a lovely reflection coming through as well. So it's going to be a perfect opportunity, everybody, to take a few little screen captures. I'm even going to take one or two, because that is just too special not to snap away. So if you hear that clicking sound, that's me taking my screenshots. Look at this. This is, I couldn't have actually asked for anything better. It was definitely well worth the wait this afternoon, and I haven't even had to go anywhere. I've just been sitting at this dam waiting anxiously for these hippo to come through. That's beautiful. Really, really lovely. Junebug wants to know if zebra are more like donkeys or if they're more like horses. So Junebug, zebra are actually in the Equus family, so they are very much related to horses. If I could compare them to anything, I would say they are very much like a pony. They are very feisty, so they've got that attitude like a pony, and they're similar in size. If anybody knows horses and their sizes, and they work in hands, a zebra is probably around, I would say, about 15 hands, somewhere around there. So not a small pony, but a decent sized pony. It only becomes a horse when it is bigger than 15.3 hands. So when it gets to 16 hands, it becomes a horse. No, sorry, 14.3, it's a pony. Oh my goodness. So just slightly bigger than a pony, about 15 hands. My brain, I used to ride horses, everybody, but I almost forgot the conversion there. Look at that. They're all coming together. Isn't that such a lovely shot? Beautiful. We've just got one that's not conforming. There we go. Put your head down so you can fit in. Oh my goodness. This could be the most beautiful zebra sighting I've had in a long time. To see so many. And folks, this is not the end of it. There are so many more that are still coming down. So how exciting is that? And you'll see them there. When one moves up and gets out the way, you'll see how a few others also just pop their heads up just to make sure that they've missed something. Now look at these guys running down now. Oh wow, look at that. I hope you're all taking lots of screenshots, because this is very special, everybody. Very, very special. Come on, you can do it. Oh, wow. And that lovely golden light as well. It's just changed now too. Perfect timing. Everything is honestly on our side today. I couldn't ask for a better afternoon, and I'm so lucky to be spending it all with all of you at home who are watching this. This is an ideal sighting. Any guide would want this sighting for their guests. So you are all very, very lucky. Things like this don't happen on a regular basis. Let's watch our hippo very quickly. Our hippo's doing a roll. Look at this. Roll, hippo, roll. He's completely submerged himself now, or almost. Let's see, he's on his side at the moment. Come on, do a big roll. Come on, I'm just taking the camera off of the zebras, and now look at you, now you've gone camera shy. Well, he's not going to stay under there forever. We're just going to have a quick look, because I think this hippo may do a good roll for us, which will be quite exciting to see. Are you, aren't you? Hippo, you're not going to be my friend for too much longer if you carry on like this. I can just see the bubbles coming up. Come on. Alright, not doing a full roll. Okay, let's watch the zebras rather. They seem to be behaving a little bit better. There we go, that's nice again. And the last group of the zebras now, just on their way down. Hello guys, thank you so much. Even though it was so quick, it was so worth it though. So for those of you who have just joined us, we are watching an incredible herd of zebra that we've been waiting for about an hour and a half to come down and join us at Red Dam on Arathusa. Remember, if you'd like to ask me any questions or if you want to comment, you're welcome to either hashtag Safari Live, or you can even email us at questions@wildearth.tv. See, they're all a little bit frisky at the watering hole. Come on guys, take turns, there's more than enough for everybody. Oh my god, drinking so nicely. Beautiful reflection, everybody. That is perfect. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Look at those three with their heads in a row. That's beautiful. Mary wants to know if zebra ever form bachelor herds, and yes they do. Often when the males get kicked out of the herds of the females when they reach normally about almost 3 years old, then they will go off and sort of find a few other boys to hang around in. It's very uncommon to see a zebra on its own. Obviously it's extremely vulnerable, so they will join up in bachelor groups. This is incredible. It was so worth the wait watching these zebra. Look at that, that's incredible. That is perfect. This is what, well actually this sighting is a photographer's dream. I can tell you now, if any of my friends are watching this show, they are all envious that I get to see the most amazing things, and especially something like this, to see all these zebra all together like that. Such a big herd. It's not always very common to see so many zebra together. Well, unless you go to the Masai Mara where James is going to be soon, and then he'll see loads and loads of zebra. But down here in the Sabi Sands we don't see too many. You can see one of the monkeys is back again, braving it out. Hello. Are you also coming for a drink now? Beautiful. What an incredible, look at the way they're going up as well. Sorry, I know we're looking at that monkey, but it's just incredible. Look at the power that these zebra have in their hindquarters to zoom on up this, and it's quite a steep bank as well. Look at those two, they're biting each other now. There you go. Go on. Look at that. See all the power in their back legs. I push on up. I can tell you, if I were to try and go through there, I'd make an absolute fool of myself. I'd probably fall back down and roll all the way down and fall in the mud, and then I'd have to try and go back up again. Well, thank you very much, zebra, and I've got something else to show you as well, everyone. I'm going to very quickly just reposition. There's a beautiful group of monkeys, vervet monkeys, just in the tree. I just want to get a good angle for everybody. Look at that. I'm getting it. Have a look. Xander's going to zoom in now, but you can actually see the one that was getting his bum cleaned. See there? Watch that now. There's one laying flat, and just now it had its tail in the air, getting its bum cleaned. Oh, no, embarrassed now, not hanging around. Having a good scratch. So Jamie and I have been very lucky to see so many monkeys. We don't often see them, so, and to have these guys so relaxed, that's really nice. Hello. Oh, that must be Mom. You can see that little one going in for a suckle. Yes, that's lovely. Cuddles from Mom. No, not particularly interested. Oh, there we go. Please clean me. I cannot reach those sensitive areas. So check there, look there. They are meticulous too. Oh, there you go. Got a flea, got a tick, got a something, and nothing gets wasted in the bush. It's a meal for this female vervet monkey. Now they don't have shampoos and things to get rid of all the parasites. Look at that, even going along the tail. And this is very important for the different members of a troop of monkeys, to groom each other. It's really lovely. So it really strengthens that bond, not only between mom and offspring, but also with the other members, with the sisters, with even the monkeys that aren't related to each other. It's very important that they have a close-knit relationship with each other. That's a really good bum shot over there. I may even have to snap one of these, because I don't think I've ever got this end of a monkey before like that. Oh no, of course, now that I've said that, they've changed position. Typical. No, done cleaning, right? That's enough for you. Come on, Mom. Oh, careful, little one. I don't think you're supposed to do that. That's a bit cheeky. Mom's going, all right, come back here. What's that? That's lovely to see the bonding between two vervets. I also think that little one is getting a bit old to try and be suckling. I don't even think it can ride on Mom's stomach anymore. It's way too big. Yes, I'm talking about you. Where's your friends? Go and play with your friends. Okay, see, I'm brave. I don't really need Mom just to occasionally clean me, and when I would like to suckle, look at her. See? I'm going to sit in the fork of a tree. Lovely knobthorn tree as well. You can see all those lovely flowers. While I carry on sitting with these vervet monkeys just to see what they get up to, I think shoot on over to Jamie and see what feathered creature she has now.
Here we go, an incredible woodpecker. Isn't she absolutely lovely? And she is a I was trying to remember the pages of my book at the same time as talking, and it didn't go so well. She's a bearded woodpecker, so the largest of our woodpecker species. Where'd she go? Oh no. How terribly rude of her. Well, okay, that's alright. That's not a panic. There she goes. Haha, I see you. I'm going to catch you on camera one more time before we go into a little bit of a lesson. Oh no. She's gone, unfortunately. I'm trying to show you her one last time before we go into a lesson of woodpeckers and the different species that we get. I hear that you had quite the macabre experience with James in the tent, where he dissected a hoopoe's, I keep calling him hoopoo, got hoopoo on the brain, a woodpecker's head, and he cut it in half. And whilst that is a bit gross, at the same time it is incredibly fascinating, because they've got such intricate structures around their brains designed for the way that they pick on wood and the cushioning and the fact that their tongue wraps around their brain. How well do you think this is going to go? Am I going to pull this off? We're going off the road, Dave. Not yet, almost, Dave. Little bit. I mean, I'm trying to get to the elephants at the same time. Oopsie. Woodpecker. Bearded. 324. Whoops. Okay. I was trying to be smooth. I think I achieved the opposite effect. We'll stop and do a little lesson on woodpeckers. So the ones that we get, and bear with me because I have to fiddle with this book because it's not my usual one. Well, it is now, but my other bird book is so terrible. Wood, if I'm not mistaken, was that one it was? Is it back now? Okay, wonderful. I don't know why it's doing that. Sorry about that. So, there's quite a few, there's 4 different woodpecker species that you'll see out here. And they all have the subtlest of distinctions. So the cardinal, let's start with the cardinal. Let's do a birding lesson. Next time I'm going to quiz you and you're not allowed to look it up. Look at the top of a male cardinal's head. Brown patch on top, red at the back, and then a little beard over here. And then streaked chest. So that's 1 tick. Female, no red, bit of a brown, olivey brown at the top, and then the black behind, and again, that beard stripe. Not to be confused with our bearded woodpecker. Okay, that's the cardinal. Let's do the next one, which is not on this page, unfortunately. This is the bearded woodpecker. That's what we were looking at earlier. I think it looked large enough to be the bearded woodpecker. She was in the sun. Female, because her head was entirely black. There definitely wasn't any red. And the giveaway is that ninja-like eye strap, or eye stripe behind her eye. So that's what you want to look for if you're looking for the difference between a bearded and a cardinal. Male, he's got a nice red patch here, and then the eye stripe, and then the beard stripe. Hence the name bearded woodpecker. And then quite dark underbellies, not streaked. The longer we sit here, the more the mopani bees. Oops, sorry, Dave. Wind blew the page. The more the mopani bees are gathering. Right, so that's bearded. Now where's Bennett's? Bennett's. Greenback, little green. Melancholy woodpecker. That's terribly sad. Why is it melancholy, I wonder? Hey, go away. Bennett's woodpecker, there we go. Oof. There's some mopani bees. Oh, how are you doing there, Dave? They're all over you. Sure, they're after moisture. Okay, let's finish this lesson quicker. So, nice red head, and then a red throat stripe, or beard stripe. So totally different. And here's where it gets very confusing. The female bearded looks totally different. She's got a black cap with a bit of red as well, and a brown throat. So look at the difference here. She doesn't actually have a stripe here at all. It's white. A brown throat and a brown eye stripe. So the female Bennett's is one of those really tricky woodpeckers. I'm doing this lesson so that you identify our next woodpecker without checking your books or your Google. Last one, the golden-tailed woodpecker. Black crown and red behind. Oh man, go away, mopani bees. So don't confuse it with the female Bennett's woodpecker, because this one doesn't have a brown underneath its throat. So the golden-tailed woodpecker, nice streaky underbellies, and then the female with her red head, and she's actually got a little red stripe here as well on the bill. Now, sorry, he, just look at this quickly because this is the most confusing. He looks very, very similar to the Bennetts. Both of them have the red eye stripe and both of them have the red cap on the head. But the Bennetts has more of a white face, whilst the golden-tailed, which is also slightly larger, if I'm not mistaken. Oh no, they're much the same. Sorry, my mistake, they're much the same. It's got much more of dark streaking around the face, not dots, like the Bennett's has. Right, I hope you've all taken very concise and clear notes. There will be a test later, if I can find a woodpecker. And you're not allowed to cheat. You're not allowed to Google. Let's go find these elephants. I'm hoping they've had enough time to move out into the open. I wish she could have stuck around so we could have actually put that into practice. Sometimes it's the finer details that makes birding so much fun. Go away. Let's go fast. We're going fast, Dave.
Hey.
Let's get away from them. Stop following me. I'm sure you are wondering what the flies are that are flying around us. They are little stingless bees called Mapani bees. And they are completely harmless, just very irritating. They're after the moisture on our faces, our eyes, our sweat. And they sometimes go into your ears in search of moisture there. They are, I don't know how that one managed to stay on board, but somehow it did. So they are fantastic little creatures that make amazing honey. And they are probably, ooh, that's very nice. It's turned into a birding afternoon this afternoon. Sorry, Dave. There we go. A lovely crested barbet. I like stopping for crested barbets. A dark feathery cap. Another bird that almost matches a woodpecker in terms of the strength of its bill, incapable of constructing holes in wood. Look at that. You can see how serious that beak is. The wind is making that crest look amazing. Nice opportunities to just take some very pretty screenshots. Awesome. Okay. He's flown off. James Bear, I haven't seen a golden-tailed woodpecker. I'm trying to think if anybody's seen them on any of the live drives. I haven't seen a golden-tailed woodpecker. Used to see them all the time where I worked. They were probably the most common woodpecker species that we saw, which is a little bit more towards the Drakensberg Mountains. And yes, you're absolutely right, of course, they do occur in the Kruger. I haven't seen one. I'm not sure whether any of the other viewers can remember seeing a golden tail on live drive, but perhaps that's something we should really aim for, is double check. And it might be that there's just the slightest nuance to the northern Sabi Sands habitat type that doesn't suit them, or perhaps they're outcompeted by the other woodpecker species. It is interesting that they have evolved so many different species that are so incredibly similar to each other. Where are these ellies? They were coming in this direction. I don't think they've got out of here yet. The subject of birds we see and seeing more of them. James Dungan, no, the crested barbets are not migratory. None of the barbet species that we get here are. What you might find is they're birds. I mean, they might move to places, let's say closer to the Drakensberg, that's had a little bit more rain or something similar. But I don't know if we've been seeing more of them because we've been stopping more for them. We have recently upgraded cameras for at least Wendy, which means that both vehicles are on an even keel when it comes to the camera's zoom ability. And that might have biased us towards stopping for more of the barbets. I don't know. That they're not migratory species. One of the weirdest things is that I've never managed to put a black-collared barbet on camera. And I don't know why that is. I hear them all the time. That do puddly do puddly do puddly do puddly do. And I'm sure you must see them on the dam camera, but I've never yet managed to get the cousin of the crested barbet, the black-collared barbet, on camera. And these ellies, after all the noise they were making, haven't popped out here. I'm most disappointed. No tracks coming out here. Well, at some point we might even bump into Karula, just in terms of where we're going. We're doing circles within circles here. Where are these ellies? They might have changed direction. Let's see, we might catch them on Twin Dams. Perhaps they're on their way towards the dam pan. The pan. Okay, well there we go. Quite a few people commenting that they have seen a golden-tailed and it is on their bird list. I might even have seen one, but I don't remember seeing one. I've seen bennets once or twice. I've mostly seen bearded, and I've seen one or two cardinals. Maybe I have seen a... No, I don't think I have seen a golden-tailed. But there we go. Quite a few people commenting that they have seen golden-tailed woodpeckers here. So there we go, James. They are around. And of course we're going to start getting the swallows back. There's all kinds of exciting things for those of you. And if you're new to our live safaris, now is the best part of, or the best time, to start building up a new bird list. I just wanted to find out why my game drive comms were beeping so much in my ear. It sounds as though they have found Tundi and her cubs on Torchwood. And a male lion on Torchwood. Okay. Awesome, so Tundi is still alive and well, and she's, I think that's who they found. I'll check now with them. I just wondered why all of a sudden I had my game drive channel turned right down and I was just hearing beep, beep, beep. Much excitement. No, you can't lose an entire herd of elephants. They must be here somewhere. I haven't come out of here, so they must just be in the... Maybe they stopped for a rest. Maybe a little one stopped for a sleep. Nope. They've vanished. The mammal species of Juma are avoiding me today. Although, that's not true. A nice Nyala and dwarf mongoose monkey combination. Alrighty now, Carmen would like to know exactly how our radios work. Well, I've been listening to this with half a brain. Karen, basically, we've usually got 3 sets of radios. We probably only listen to 2 of them. One is Final Control, who is feeding through your questions to us in their lovely dulcet tones. And this afternoon's case, it is the beautiful Rebecca, who is reading through your questions. Then we have the very important Game Drive channel. And of course Rebecca also tells us when to link, when to send you across to the other vehicle, when to come back if there's a crash cut or anything like that. So she controls where the show goes. And then the Game Drive comms, we've got 3 different channels on there as well. And we talk to, it depends on where we are, which one we use, and we talk to the different vehicles. I don't know where to go. I'm tired of driving Ingwe Alley. Okay, let's keep going this way. So we use them to communicate. What we do is, if we find a sighting, then we call it in, and then people basically line up to go and join the sighting. So they will form a queue, only allow 3 vehicles in one sighting at one time, or 2 if there's cubs involved, and we control it with the Game Drive channel. Or, let's say I find really beautifully fresh leopard tracks right here and I want some help, then I'll call in and say, if anybody's in the area, they say, okay, I'll go check that road. Those are where the tracks are heading, and then together you've just got extra ears and eyes. And we also coordinate so that we don't all drive the same road many, many times, although I have to confess, I feel as though I've done this road one too many times this afternoon, but I just feel at some point Karula's going to be on it. It's just a matter of getting my royal appointment at the correct time. I'm sure she's going to pop out here, because she didn't earlier. So that's a rough summary of how the Game Drive channel works. We use Shangaan for the most part, or a funny mixture of Shangaan, Zulu, Fanagalore, English. Whanagalo is a made up, not a made up language, it's just a mishmash of all the different languages of South Africa. Grula? Yes, no. I know you're here. Ah. Okay. I'm going to spread my search further afield. And while I do, let's head across to Tayla and find out, is she still at Red Dam or what her plans are?
I am not at the dam anymore. I have moved away. We spent almost 2 hours at the dam and it was so exciting. But unfortunately nothing else has come down, so we are moving on. I'd really like to try and find some elephants. I was missing the elephants. I was hoping a bull or two or even a lovely breeding herd were going to come down to the to Red Dam, but unfortunately they didn't. So we are coming back onto Djuma now, and we're going to see what else we can find. It's a bit windy still, which is unfortunate. I thought it was going to die down, what I was really hoping. I was actually sitting in such a nice cozy spot down at that dam where I didn't have the wind. Actually now I'm appreciating the wind because I'm cooling down a little bit. The temperature has dropped quite a bit, which is fantastic. Not so hot anymore. Now this is obviously an opportunity that the temperature has lowered, that the predators is going to start to get a bit more active because it's been crazy hot today. We even all had to go for a swim. And that, no, just if you're thinking, that was not us at the Djuma Pan. Those were actually elephants, not us. We went and swam in a swimming pool. So we're just bumbling along over here. I love bumbles in the bush. Even when you don't see anything, it is so beautiful. Right, what do we have next? We've been so privileged with all the different birds today. You know what? I wish that Brent was here so I could have done another bird challenge with him. I think we could have won this afternoon just by sitting at Red Dam. We saw so many different species come through, so I'll have to re-challenge him and try and take the bird winner title from him at some point. Right, I'm so buzzed on the amazing sightings we've had today. I can't tell you how excited I am, and it really was just absolutely incredible. This drive is just flying by. I feel like we could stay out for another 3 hours. Right, nothing so far. Still looking, haven't even seen any more birds. Maybe my bird luck is over. Right. So remember everybody, we are live at the moment and I'd love to hear from you all. So if you'd like to send us a comment or a question, I'll happily try and answer them all to the best of my ability. So you can either so I need to fix away at my mic. I think it is this. I think my big hair has eaten the mic, unfortunately. How do I fix this? Gotta look for it. I don't know where it is. I'm gonna have to. Woo! Do you have it for me? Oh, thank you. The lovely ladies in FC actually spotted my microphone disappeared to the back of my head. Can you believe it? So now I'm just trying to get it back in here. Right, so I need to read it. Now you can see that we live, because if we weren't, this probably wouldn't be happening. You would never even know that we have little bloopers like this, and I quite like showing things like this, just to show you that even I can have little accidents, and it's quite funny actually. Right, Rebecca, how's that? Can you hear me loud and clear? Ah, fantastic. I'm back in order again. It's either that my ponytail is eating my mic, or I'm unplugging my life support. So, and then I can't hear anybody saying anything. I think we're going to have a phenomenal sunset again this evening. We're so spoiled. And I think we could have a full moon this evening. So I wonder when we're going to start to see that moon. I haven't spotted it yet. Eggsy, have you seen it yet? Ah, Rebecca's just told me that there's going to be a lunar eclipse tonight. How wonderful is that? I can't wait to see that. And we've got some wildebeest up ahead. Have a look at this. Should I go stealth mode? Let's go electric, everybody. We're going to roll on in. Rolling, rolling, rolling on a safari. I don't know. You'll learn that singing is not my strong point. All the wildebeest are having a nap at the Great Balanites tree, which is very famous. Hello, wildebeest. Sorry to disturb you. Don't stop your siesta on account of me. Look at this little one here who is just watching us. I wonder if this is not the same small group of wildebeest that we saw this morning. And we actually were focusing on a young juvenile wildebeest like this, and we weren't too far away. And because it is so hot, I don't think they would have moved great distances. I think they may have been resting right in this spot, in fact. You can see that they're still laying down, some of them. Hello, wildebeest. So the wildebeest are hysterical animals. And like I've been saying over the last few days, these are a part of the ugly five. Can you believe it? We have got the big 6 birds, we've got the small 5, we've got the ugly 5, we've got all these amazing things to offer you. Hello. Just relaxing. Having a grand old time. Though I don't know if I'd want to be a wildebeest. Jenny wants to know if the lunar eclipse that we're going to be having this evening is going to affect the animals in any way. No, I don't think so. I don't think it's going to change anything about the animal's behavior. Look at that one. That one can't decide if it's standing up or sitting down. It was on its knees just now and then it was back up. So I'm being chased by a fly of some sort. Go away. What are you doing? Munching? What are you eating? Oh, the flies are bothering it too. Here we go. So wildebeest, we have something in common. I'm swatting just as much as you're swatting the flies. Isn't it exciting that we're going to be able to soon see James on safari in the Masai Mara, watching these wildebeest do these massive migrations. I've never gone to see something like that, and I hope that one day I'll be able to go on holiday and have a look for myself. So that's also another amazing event to keep your eyes open for. Oh my goodness, I wish you could feel what I'm feeling right now. All of a sudden, it feels like the temperature has just dropped again, and it is incredible. Wonderful wind coming from the back of me, just cooling me down so nicely. Jamie has found my absolute favorite animal in the whole world. I am green with envy. So enjoy the elephants, everybody.
I couldn't agree more with Tayla. And we have finally caught up with an elephant herd. Not the elephant herd I was looking for, but we have caught up with an elephant herd. And what a lovely, peaceful scene it is in front of us, which is nice, because as I said before, the elephants are often unsettled on these hot, windy days. This little one thought about giving us a little bit of a head shake. I'm assuming it's a little boy, just by its behavior. But he's relaxed again. And I think they're all appreciating the drop in temperature, because if we feel as hot as we do on a day like today, imagine being the size of an elephant and just how warm they must get. And of course they do have their giant air conditioning units in the form of massive ears, constantly flapping. And their ears are working very hard on a day like today. A beautiful female in front of us. She's quite a big girl. She's currently occupied with digging something out. Using her foot and trunk, in that case. Nice moment just to sit and watch them peacefully for a second. Young male, trudging up to join the rest of the herd. Love watching the interactions between elephants. Look at that. Oh, don't be a bully. The little one was after that piece of bark. And Lars Eriksson, who is a new viewer, it is wonderful to have you on board. Absolutely fantastic. And it's always lovely to hear a new name on our live safari experience. So Lars, we are in the Greater Kruger National Park area, right up in the northeast corner of South Africa, coming to you live twice a day, every day, for 3 hours in the morning and 3 hours in the afternoon. Now Lars would like to know what exactly the Big Five are. We're looking at one of them. The Big Five, the term Big Five is actually an old reference to hunting practices and the 5 most dangerous animals to track down and hunt, which is a little bit unfortunate, which is why we tend to, personally, I tend to sort of steer away from the Big Five terminology, just because of the history that it holds. The elephant is one of the Big Five, the lion is another, the rhinoceros, the buffalo, and the leopard. Those are considered to be the 5 most dangerous animals to track down and hunt on foot. I prefer to think of the Big Five, though, without reference to that history. I prefer to think of them as probably the most, I don't know, it's a difficult one. The animals that people tend to associate the most with South Africa and with the African bush. So there we go. Elephant, rhino, hippo, lion, leopard. The hippopotamus is not on that list, even though it's considered to be one of the most dangerous animals in Africa, because a hippopotamus is actually, for the hunters at the time, was a very easy thing to hunt. All they had to do was walk up to a body of water during the day, and the hippo were not going anywhere. So that's why the hippo is not included in the Big Five. But there's so many other wonderful animals out here. Not that our elephants aren't, but the list is such a tiny one. We've also got cheetah, we've got wild dog out here, we've got spotted hyena, always the chance of a brown hyena. That's one of the reasons why I try to steer away from it. But I do hope you're enjoying it, and please do, any of our new viewers, don't be shy to send through any questions you have. It can be the why is an elephant so big? Or what does an elephant do with its trunk? Although ours is giving us a pretty clear demonstration right now. Although he's finding himself frustrated, and I can't help think that that's a little bit of karma there, buddy. And chasing the little one away. Now, the massive elephants, as I said, get very, very hot. And David W., no, elephants don't sweat. Their cooling system is in the form of their massive ears. And yesterday we were fortunate enough to sit and examine the ears of a big male elephant at close proximity. And you can see the network of blood vessels running through an elephant's ear. It's much, much thinner compared to the rest of their skin. And it's filled with a massive capillary network that stretches all the way around it. And that's why elephants flap their ears. It's not because they're angry, although that can be one indication. It's because they're hot. And by moving their ears, they've got airflow over it, over that blood vessel network. It cools the blood in the air, and then that cooler blood is circulated throughout the rest of the elephant's body. With their powerful heart, the blood actually moves very quickly through the ear itself, so that it cools them down as quickly as possible. Now, that is how an elephant cools down. Now, elephants do have hair as well, just by the way. They don't look very hairy, but when you get right up close to an elephant, you can actually see the bristles that cover its body. Since the rest of the herd has moved off, I think we can get a little bit closer to this particular little bull. He's just on the outskirts of the herd. He's doing what teenage male elephants do best, which is hanging out at the back. He is almost at the age where he's going to be leaving the herd. The other way that elephants cool themselves down is they will go and find a nice muddy wallow or water. And just before we went on drive, I sought refuge in Final Control that has air conditioning, since I don't have massive elephant-sized ears to cool me down. Thank goodness, I suppose. And I was watching the elephants have a fantastic time having a little bit of a swim. Hello, boy. Yes, little boy. There we go. Yes, I was watching the elephants splash themselves. One little baby elephant dove head first into the water. It was wonderful to sit and watch. If I could, I think I'd watch the damn camera all day. That tree's gone. That's the end of that tree. Don't even know what it was. Hello, boy. Giving us the sideways glance over his shoulder. He's eating on the run. And get these amazing views of the elephants, the incredible texture of an elephant. There's wrinkles, their eyelashes, their lips. And there, if you look really closely, you'll see the bristly hairs on the bottom of their lips. The dexterity of that trunk as it twists and turns. And I've spoken before about this. I speak basic elephant, I think, in terms of my ability to read their body language and their reactions. So I probably have a better understanding than the majority of the world, but I speak basic elephant language. But there's a whole range of complexity, and I don't think as humans we have scratched the surface of understanding these amazing animals and the way that they communicate with each other. I saw something on Joyce Poole, who of course is one of the people that actually first suggested that elephants were communicating with each other through those low frequency rumbles. I was watching her talk about elephants and the trunk, and she was interpreting just the tiniest twists, the curl of the tip of the trunk. It was fascinating to watch. They do tell you so much if you just know how to speak their language. Hello guys, can I sneak up on you? I'm going to get cross. Now, of course, skin diseases are particularly fresh in our minds, what with the death of the Styx cub. And Andreen, you've asked a really lovely question, and I don't know the answer to it. Can I come through, Mommy? Alright. I'll stop here. How's about that? Andreen wants to know if there's any skin diseases specific to elephants in the same way mange is for cats and dogs. I don't know. I know that with giraffe, for example, they're particularly prone to a variation of the herpes virus that gives them those polyps on their skin. And I know that for black rhino, they get very, very bad raw patches of skin from a fungal infection that is specific to black rhino. Only black rhino get it. And they get it with the worst during the summer months. So those I know, but elephants, I'm trying to think if I've ever seen any kind of major skin disease on an elephant, and I don't think I have. We've seen the odd sort of almost polyp growth type thing on the end of a trunk. No, Andreen, I don't know of any, but that doesn't mean there isn't one. I haven't heard of one though, and I haven't seen them. I've actually never seen an elephant with a skin disease, which is interesting. That is a really, really good question, because I want to know what it is about black rhino that makes them prone to the disease that they get, and it doesn't affect an animal that is very similar, white rhino, for example, or an elephant. I'm just trying desperately to remember the name of that rhino skin disease. I can't remember. It's so frustrating. Isn't this a lovely scene? Every now and again, a deep breath out through the trunk, clearing away any debris that might have been gathered up into the trunk itself. And when you think about all the things that an elephant does with its trunk, from lifting up mud to grabbing branches like this full of thorns, it's actually amazing that they don't have more trouble. I suppose they would. It's evolved to be suited to to do these things. But it is fascinating. That, of course, is one of the big differences between African and Asian elephants. Not the trunk itself, but the tip of the trunk. In elephants, they have in African elephants, they've got the two finger-like projections, and you can see it there. And those little finger-like projections at the end of the trunk are dexterous enough to pick up the smallest thing from the ground, the smallest twig. In Asian elephants, they've only got the one on the top. Just watch the way that she's using it to strip away the acacia branches. And that actually brings me back to a subject that I raised on the sunset safari 2 days ago when I was in the tent. And I was thinking about why it is that different thorns have evolved differently. What it is that makes some thorns straight and long and strong, and others hooked and short and sharp. And I was trying to work out exactly what it was that caused that difference in the way that thorns evolved. And Debbie in Vancouver, you sent through a really thoughtful email to Final Control, and I did get it. Thank you very much. I did receive it, and I have gone through it, and I think it's a very, very interesting thought. And there's a complex variety of reasons as to why the thorns of trees have evolved the way they do. Because, of course, when we watch elephants devour trees with thorns, they're not bothered at all by what is meant to be the tree's strongest defense mechanism. Look at that. She's shoveling mouthfuls of those long, sharp, white thorns straight into her mouth. There you go. Whole branch is going to go in. It makes you want to wince. Look at that. Imagine doing that. I'm not even going to dare you to do it. You'd be crazy to do it. How's that for the strength of the skin in an elephant's mouth? In the meantime, little ones are having an amazing time. We're talking about keeping cool. This is another way that elephants protect their skin from the harsh African sun, gathering up trunks full of dust and giving themselves a thorough coating. It just helps to protect the skin a little bit from the sun. And at the same time, I have to be honest, I think they do it because I think it feels nice. Lovely. And on our sunset safari, it seems as though Tayla has also had some elephant luck, and she's got little ones playing in the cool of the evening.
I have just found the most tiniest little baby elephant ever. Look at this little one over here. This one can't be more than about 2 or 3 months old. It is so small. And Mom is just keeping a close eye. Mom is actually, have a look at Mom quickly. Gosh, she's pushing over the trees. We're having lots of luck with Mom, but I am just keeping an eye out on her. So she did chase that young elephant calf just behind her away from the little one that was playing a little bit too rough. But how precious is this tiny thing over here? Okay, it doesn't even know how to use its trunk, not even a little bit. So definitely less than 6 months old and very, very young. Like I said, I don't think it's more than 2 or 3 months old. Hey, you are tiny, and do you even know what a vehicle is? I don't think this one even knows what a vehicle is. I'm glad Mom is not bothered about this little elephant's curiosity. We've got to be a bit careful. Look at that. I don't know what to do with my trunk. Hello, Mom. It's okay. Sorry, everybody. I just want to move back. Relax, my beautiful lady. We are just admiring you. Just going to give her a little bit of room, everybody, just because I noticed that she was quite protective over her little calf with another elephant. So she wasn't too comfortable with us. She just flared her ears slightly, but it wasn't anything too serious at all. I think more just because that little one was actually getting too curious. Look at it there. That is amazing. I think this is the youngest elephant I've seen since I've been here. This is incredible. I was wondering where all the tiny tots have been hiding. And thank you, Mom, for being so kind and letting your little one come so close to us. That was a great first interaction to have with such a young calf, and hopefully it will remember that, and it will be quite happy to see vehicles the next time. Here comes another big female. You can see, look at her over there. You can see she's secreting liquid from her temporal glands, so she must be quite stressed at the moment. I don't think she's got, I think this is her calf over here that was walking next to that other elephant. So I think she's maybe slightly stressed because of the drought, maybe lack of food. Maybe she's soon going to be coming into estrus again, because her calf does look that it's about 2 years old. And they give birth every sort of 3 to 4 years. So possibly, maybe she's coming into estrus again. So she could be also slightly stressed from that. But I'm so happy that I just managed to stumble across this elephant herd in the middle of the road. Because I was talking about trying to find them earlier, which I'm really happy about. Ten wants to know, and it's a very good question, this 10, how are we supposed to stop an elephant from charging us if we're out on a book? Oh, Ken, sorry Ken, I misheard that, so the comms have been a bit static today, I think, with all this heat wave that we've had. So Ken wants to know how do we prevent, and what are the precautions that we take if an elephant were to charge us while we're out on a bushwalk. Now, Ken, firstly, we'd want to avoid breeding herds of elephants. This is something you don't want to come across. You saw Mom with that tiny little calf and how she acted towards us with a vehicle. Now, imagine if that was on foot, she wouldn't have been so tolerant of us. So when you do encounter a breeding herd of elephants on foot, you actually want to try and move away as quick as possible. Put some distance between yourselves, and if it's an elephant bull, let's use an elephant bull, because that's usually what we see when we're walking. Elephant bulls are really nice. They're quite relaxed. Obviously, we can't get as close to them as we do in the vehicles. Now, if an elephant were to charge you, the first thing that you've got to do is you've got to stand your ground. Don't run. Don't do anything silly like that. Plant your feet firmly on the ground and look at the animal. Right, if the elephant then stops, great, fantastic. The best thing to do is actually mimic an animal's behavior. Now, if this elephant is not happy and still shouting and screaming and trumpeting and charging you constantly, then you're going to have to start acting aggressively back. You're going to have to start clapping your hands, shouting, hey, hey, and make your voice sound as deep as it possibly can. And that will often deter an elephant, and then they'll normally move off. It may take you 10 or 15 minutes, but eventually you'll get to a point where the elephant will actually back away. Most of the time, if you have encounters with the animals, it's usually just a threat. It's nothing normally too serious. But like I said, with a walk, we don't want to view the big animals. I'm going to just pull off the road very quickly. We've got another vehicle that would like to pass us, so we're just going to take our eyes off the elephants very quickly for a second. I'm going to continue telling you what you should do. So, like I said, now if you get into the situation where you've got a breeding herd that is now surrounded you, now you're going to get yourself in a little bit of trouble, and you are going to have to be very careful. Obviously, you're going to have to try and get yourself a big tree. You're going to have to try and get yourself a termite mound. You're going to have to try and find something along those types of natural features that you can hide behind. Because remember, if you get in between a mom and a calf, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. And they might not be as forgiving as, say, perhaps a big male elephant. But remember, when you do bushwalks, we don't want to view big game on foot. It's very dangerous. We've got these wonderful vehicles that we're driving in that we can get more than close enough with. The bushwalks are really to focus on the smaller things, which is quite nice. So Ken, I hope that answers your question. We've all been charged, most of us guides, by a few elephants, but 99 times out of 100, it's just a threat, and they'll actually move off, and we'll part ways and leave each other alone. But yeah, I hopefully don't get charged too often. It's not fun. We're going to carry on now. These elephants have crossed out of our traverse, unfortunately. And I'm going to check very quickly while we've got a very little bit of light to see what happened with those lions that I was tracking this morning. Now, I had their tracks, they were sort of going east and west along Hippo Pools Road, quite close to Cheetah Cut Line. And that's also the end of our traverse if they go any further east. And I have a suspicion that they possibly did cross out of our property. Whether they went north or whether they went east, I'm uncertain, because a troop of baboons had actually come through the area and gone over the lion tracks. So I only saw 2 sets of female lion tracks and some of the cubs. I didn't see all of the cubs' tracks. But remember, how I have been saying is that they don't always walk one behind the other. Sometimes they will split up and go around and take different routes. So we're going to head back to Jamie, who's still sitting with the giants of Africa, while I carry on searching for the lions.
Tayla is off in search of the lions, and as she said that, as she was sending you across to me, Aubrey's just called in that they are on Buffalo's Hook. The Nkuhumas have managed to catch another buffalo. Sorry, buffalo means buffalo in Afrikaans. They've managed to catch another buffalo, which is great. It's wonderful to hear that they have been so successful to the north of our Traverse area. So there you go, just an update on our Nkuhumas. In the meantime, we are still with our massive animals. I was actually leaving our elephants to go off in search of other things, and I came around the corner only to find an elephant roadblock. And I'm not going to argue. I'm more than happy to spend as much time as possible with these animals. They're always fascinating to watch. You could sit with elephants for hours and never ever be bored. Little male there, catching up with one of the females. And just because it's slightly thicker in this area, I'm giving them plenty of space, seeing how they're reacting to us. Did have a female the other day behave quite unexpectedly. She charged us from a long way away, and we weren't really doing anything. Our engine was off. We'd been sitting there for ages, and she just came running out of the blue, straight towards us. And I have no idea what provoked her or why she did that, but I'm just wondering if she's not part of this herd. It seems to be all fine. I think we can reposition. Hello, ellies. Just stop here for a moment. Watch a female and her calf. And hello to Nelly, who is a new viewer. It's lovely to hear a new name once again. You wanted to know what the weight difference is between a male and a female elephant. And the answer is it's significant. When a female elephant just reaches sexual maturity for the first time, she's probably no more than about 3 tons in weight. And your average bull elephant is probably sitting at around 5 to 6 tons. Oh, look at the little one. Stopping to have a quick snack. Oh, come on, Mom. I want to drink. It's supplementing its vegetation diet with a little bit of Mama's milk. Almost a little bit too old to be suckling still. So Nelly, a male elephant can be almost double in size than the female. They are absolutely massive. The largest ever recorded male was sitting around 9 or 10 tons in weight, which is absolutely massive. 9,000, 10,000 kilograms. I've read once, I think, of an elephant estimated at 12,000 kilograms. I can only imagine how enormous that particular creature must have been. We got some amazing shots yesterday of one of the bigger bulls, male elephants, that I have seen in my time on Djuma. He was just wandering around quarantine, perfectly mannered, lovely male elephant. On this peaceful sunset safari, the sun is slowly starting to descend, and I think that Tayla has got a beautiful view for you.
So this morning, Jamie had the opportunity to view the magnificent sunrise. She stole it right under my nose. So this afternoon, I thought I would show you a wonderful sunset again. And isn't that spectacular? Amazing. It was like a little cloud that was just forming just in the middle of that sun. I don't even know what's going on. I can't see. It's very hazy off into the distance. I don't know if it's a cloud, but look how it's just cut it completely in half. How crazy is that? Really beautiful. And it's going down so quick, and I just absolutely love to listen to the last calling of all the birds. And actually a few elephants are actually slowly making their way towards us. Can you believe it? It's quite difficult to see them, but they are coming this way, and I suspect that they could possibly cross in front of us at any moment. That's one thing I absolutely love, is to be able to get a silhouette of an elephant at sunset. You look just straight ahead on that animal pathway. That's why I think you can see the animal pathway so clearly. That's why I think that they could come straight out over here. Though with elephants, you know, as you've seen over the years, if you've been watching or if you've had the privilege of going on safari, is that elephants don't need a designated pathway. They can just make their own. We keep getting elephants trying to push down trees. We had so much luck today. It's been amazing. From this morning sighting to this afternoon, seeing that little ellie, that was really stunning. I'm hoping that they decide to go and see. There's another one over there, hidden away quite nicely. We're having a real elephant safari this afternoon, which is, in my books, the best safari you could have. And thank you, Jamie, for that update. I believe she was telling us about the Nkahumas, how they are on Buffalo's Hook. So hopefully they finish up whatever they may be eating and head on back to their home. Come on, Ellies, come towards us. We're waiting in anticipation. No, I'm going to push that tree over and get the roots. Look at that. Bye-bye. You are now dead, tree. Oh, go away, flies. Look at that. Using their feet once again and those wonderful digging tools to help them either dig for roots and to strip the bark off of the trees. Sometimes they need to put their foot down on the branch and then find a little bit that's coming loose and then pull it off with their trunks. Hello, elephant. You got something delicious? Yes, I've got something delicious. Where are you going? You're about to do a handstand. Oh, it's got a root. Or is it a piece of bark? No, it's a piece of bark. Sorry, everybody. Our view is quite obstructed with all the trees in the distance. I'm going to quickly reposition. Sophie, hello, good evening. Oh, I can't even start the vehicle. Sophie wants to know, how do these elephants eat all those branches with all those thorns on them without having to get hurt? Well, Sophie, I don't know if you've ever spent much time in the garden, but when you are gardening, I'm sure you've noticed that your hands become quite calloused and obviously a lot harder, and it makes it quite easy for you to work in the garden. Now, it's the same thing with elephants. However, they do also have much thicker skin than what we have. So those thorns don't always bother the elephant. So a combination of thick skin and quite a thick tongue as well. And it doesn't bother them. But what's even better, and what I've only ever seen the elephants being able to do, is they'll break a branch, say it's got some thorns on it, pop it on the ground, pop their foot over it, turn it over with their trunks, and they do that, and they actually scrape their feet up along the branch and make sure that they get rid of most of those thorns. The new thorns, which are quite soft, doesn't really bother them, but like I said, with them being used to eating this type of vegetation all the time, they are so used to it. Let's see if we can get a little sneak peek of this elephant over here that's eating on a bush willow. Everybody seems to be eating the bush willow at the moment, all the elephants in particular enjoying the bush willow species of trees. Must have very juicy bark at this time of the year. There you go. Come towards us. Yes. They're still actually coming towards this other animal pathway that is just to the left of us. So hopefully they come straight here. And these look like bulls that are tailing that breeding herd that we had a few moments ago, probably about 10 minutes ago. They're youngsters. So the one on the right looks slightly older, the one that's coming in on the left looks slightly smaller. I reckon they're both anywhere between the age of about 18 and 22 years old, somewhere around there. They've now left the herd and are tailing the breeding herd. I don't think they're quite comfortable with the fact that Mom said, right, you have to leave home. And they're going to live a solitary life for most of the time. These two have obviously just joined up for companionship while they're getting used to the idea of living on their own. And some people may say that it's quite sad and it's quite cruel, and how do they live on their own? But you know, they get used to it. They don't know any different. Yes, they've come from living with a family, but it only takes a few months for them to get used to the idea. Because when they go to the breeding herds, they're not really the most favorite. The females will push them around and actually act quite aggressive towards them, sort of saying, we don't want you here. So why hang around with people that don't want you around anymore? And that's why they head off on their own. And these guys have got lots of growing to do before they can even think of mating with any of the females. And the females know this too. They will not let these boys mate with them. Come on, chaps. You're on your way. Now, I love elephant bulls. I think they're fantastic when they're not in must. I know Jamie had the most unbelievable sighting with that great elephant bull. And I have to say, whoever did that fantastic Photoshop of Jamie and the elephant, oh my goodness, I've never ever seen anything like that. That was incredible. Very, very talented people who are watching the show. So well done on that. You can see the other one sticking his trunk up the other one's mouth. They're greeting each other, saying, hello, yes, I'm still here. Oh, they actually look to be of even size. Let's see when they come towards us. I think they're going to come straight here. Yes. Keep following that animal pathway. And now you can also see that they're flapping their ears as they walk. This is not an aggressive sign at all. It's just because it is so hot today, and also with all the flies flying around and biting them, it's a combination of cooling their bloodstream down and also trying to get rid of the insects. I was right. They're coming right down on this animal pathway. Come on, chaps. Always stopping, having a little sniff, seeing if there's something else that they could possibly eat along the way. Hello, naughties. Yes, you two look like troublemakers. What are you going to do? You're going to push that tree over? You're going to have a rub? Somebody's been rubbing up against there. Hello? Just having a look at us. The other one's not having any of it, and he's going the long way around. Obviously, this is the brave one. What are you going to have, a rub? Have a scratch. That's a good tree to have a little scratch on. No. Hello, boy. He's walking right in front of the vehicle. Definitely tailing that breeding herd. Right, everybody, my elephants are racing away from me, apparently. Obviously, maybe I need to have a shower or something. I don't know why they're running away like that. But let's head over to Jamie and just check what's happening on her side.
Luckily, my elephants are not racing anywhere, and we've still got this wonderful sighting in front of us. I have a suspicion, I'm not 100% sure, but I have a funny suspicion that that's actually the female that charged down the road towards me. I'm not 100% sure. I didn't take time to take stock of her different markings and identify her, but I did notice she had quite long, thin, quite pointed tusks. I think it is her. And she's perfectly relaxed now, calm and feeding. You can see the dirt and plant material smeared across the top of her tusks. This is beautiful. Look at that lower lip. Our lovely bearded lady. there we go. Perfect opportunity to answer Vicky's question. Vicky, with pleasure, I will tell you more about the glands on the side of an elephant's head. So between the eye and the ear, for our new viewers, you see where it looks as though there's liquid been running down her face. In there is a gland called a temporal gland, and it is responsible. It's kind of like the scent glands that are on, let's say, for example, antelope or the cats, whenever they go up and they rub their cheeks on each other. The difference is it's evolved to the point with elephants that it forms a very, very important part of their social communication with each other. And it secretes a liquidy, mucousy substance that contains pheromones that give signals. So it's basically like a scent marking gland that gives signals to the other elephants. And they're very, very highly attuned to that particular gland and the smell of it. Now, what you usually find is whenever an elephant is in a state of heightened emotion, and we usually associate it with distress, fear, or anger, we often see it with the wild dogs, then that gland immediately starts to secrete, and the face can be wet. That liquid can be trailing down the face in the matter of minutes from when the elephant's gone from calm to distressed in some way. But you do also see them secrete quite heavily when they are with little calves playing with each other. It's not necessarily just to do with anger or fear. In males, that forms an even more important function when they are in must. The must is the part at the time of an elephant's life, and they go through it regularly, where their testosterone levels skyrocket. They get a little bit angry. Well, not angry. Angry is the wrong word. They get a little bit more forceful in their behavior, a little bit more determined and stubborn, and also slightly more inclined to follow a female to seek out a mate. Let's put it that way. And the temporal gland in an elephant bull in must swells up. You can actually visibly see it swollen. And they dribble that liquid constantly. It's basically announcing their suitability as a mate. They're essentially their sexual supremacy to all of the females. And evidence seems to show that females prefer to mate with males in must. And that dribbles constantly. And they also dribble urine, of course, as well. That's fascinating. I'd love to have the opportunity. I've dealt with anesthetized elephants before, but never in a situation where I've been able to closely examine that gland and really have a proper look at the way that it works, or just how it looks on the outside. Luckily, we've got the incredible camera, which allows us some amazing close-up views every now and again. The last few elephant dartings that I've been on, whether it's to transport an elephant that had broken out of a reserve, a couple of different scenarios, have almost always been spent rushing around trying to get water to cool the animal down, because they overheat very, very rapidly when they are sedated. That's been largely my experience of elephant darting and anesthetizing them. It's obviously not something that you subject the animal to unless you absolutely have to. Did give me an amazing opportunity, though, to examine the bottom of its feet. Now, Tahin, you want to know how many elephant herds there are in the Sabi? I honestly don't know. So it's a difficult question to answer because the Sabi is open to a massive area, to the Kruger National Park, to the Manuleti in the north, and that in turn is open to places like the Timbavati, the Klasiri, and Baluli. In other words, the elephants come and go as they want. We have we have boundaries, but they do not. There are no fences between them and the other reserves. So it's difficult to say exactly. I would say this afternoon on Juma, we've probably got about 5 different herds wandering about. I've seen evidence of at least 5 different herds, and Juma is quite a small property. So if Juma is 1,200 hectares, the Sabi Sands is closer to 65,000. You times that by, let's conservatively times that by 25. So what did I say? 5 elephant herds on Juma times 25 is roughly 125 elephant herds. But that's some really that's not accurate mathematics. That's me guessing, giving you a little bit of an estimate. Maybe roughly 25 elephant herds, and lots more elephants. Absolutely. Gracie, I think that almost every day. Gracie is 9 years old and she's come up with the best idea. I've often said it would be nice to be an elephant for a day, but Gracie's taken that even further and she's definitely got a better idea than I had. She's saying, wouldn't it be great if we could have a hat that we could put on so that we could talk to the elephants? If I had a hat like that on, I'm not sure I'd ever take it off. I think I'd be involved in long conversations with the elephants for a very, very long time. Gracie, you're a genius. We need you to invent one for us, please. Please, can you invent a hat for me that will allow me to understand the elephants? I think that's a very clever idea. Don't you, Dave?
Yes.
I would cash in all my savings. I would invest everything in a hat that would allow me to talk to elephants. Imagine all the things they could tell us, Gracie. All the stories they could tell. Especially the big females. All the things that they've seen come and go. Beautiful idea. Well, it does seem as though Tayla has had success with one of our most beloved elephant characters. And Gracie, I think there's a good chance that we might get to see Olympia, that we named after your elephant, and of course, the lovely Benjamin.
I have found little Benjamin over here. Look at him. Look at all those wrinkles on his head. How fantastic is this? Jamie hasn't stopped raving about this little one since I arrived, and I've been absolutely itching to get to see this little elephant calf, and I can see now what they mean about all the wrinkles on his head. Isn't he adorable? He's got what has he got there? Can we go in a little bit closer? Yeah. He looks like he's got a bit of a knobthorn branch. It's a small piece of branch that's stuck on top of his ear over there, but I don't think it's bothering this little guy too much. Remember, their skin is quite thick, so I think it's actually just stuck on the tufts of hair, and I'm pretty sure if he rubs up or goes through a little shrub, it will come off, so don't worry too much about that. That's what happens when you're walking through all this thick vegetation all the time. And see, this little one hasn't even got any idea how to use his trunk yet. He's going, I've seen Mom do something like this with my foot. What am I supposed to do now? Oh, there we go. That's very clever. Now you have to pull the leaves off. Can you pull some leaves off? Well done. I take that back. He has got quite good use of his trunk. He is adorable, this little chap over here. It's a pity that it's got so dark now because I can't take any photos, so I'd really appreciate if some of you could take a screenshot for me and hashtag Safari Live so I can have a look at it after we end the show a little bit later. Isn't he a precious one? I think I need to fill my notebook with pictures of all the regular characters that we see all the time. I think that's a good idea. And then that way I can remember everybody. I think the most challenging thing for me is to learn all the different leopards without having to see them. You know, are you going to go back to Mom, or are you still going to eat on that acacia? So Donna wants to know, how do baby elephants nurse? Do they use their trunk, or what part of their body do they use? Now, looking at an elephant, seen as that they do everything with their trunk, naturally one would think that they would grasp on with the little trunk and suckle that way. But Donna, they don't. They actually use their mouths. So they curl their trunk back towards their forehead, and they will use their mouths to suckle. Maybe we even get this, you see this little one suckling. It's going, just about going underneath Mom's legs. And here all the Franklins calling one last time. Good night, good night, good night. I don't really know what it's saying, but it sounds like it's saying something along those lines. Oh, I've got a log. What am I going to do with that? Can I strip the bark off of that? No, I don't think you can, unless Mom has perhaps broken it and given you a little bit of a helping hand. Oh yes, I see there's a few little strips of bark there to the left. You might be able to. Beautiful. so peaceful and so quiet, and it's cooling down so nicely this evening. I can't help but just close my eyes and just sit and listen to what the bush has to offer. I really, really hope that some of you that are watching this show one day get an opportunity to come down and visit us and just experience all these things that we're always telling you about for yourself. Hello? Yes. You are a very clever elephant. You know exactly what to do with your trunk. That didn't look like a particularly juicy piece that you're munching on over there. Also, you can see those flies again. Look at them, elephants swatting their tails like crazy. I wish they would take their own advice, really, because I've told you about how you can burn elephant dung and it can get rid of all the insects around you. I'm surprised that elephants don't do that. I suppose they don't have a way of making fire, but I think it would be great. Imagine a little tin of some sort filled with elephant dung just attached to their tail, so that as they swat it like that, all that smoke comes out and helps get rid of all the insects that are bothering them. And you'll see how she's particularly scratching around her ankles. Do you see that? Now there's actually a lot of blood vessels around the ankle, around that sort of area. And like with us, the animals the little insects want to go straight towards a blood source, so they'll often go around there. Usually you can see a lot of ticks around the insides of the elephant's legs. And Nerly wants to know if it's true if elephants are scared of small things like mice. I don't think it's true, and Nerly, I'm not sure where that came from. You know, I reckon if an elephant is standing like this and something like even a small francolin came rushing through at quite a speed, making quite a bit of noise along the ground, possibly then yes, that'd be enough to startle an elephant. But I think if an elephant realized what it was, it's not going to be particularly bothered by it. However, buffalo, on the other hand, they are scared of everything and anything. The one day I was sitting on a massive open plain, I was watching 300 buffalo. Now you'd think if you've got 300 of you standing in a wide open area, you'd feel quite safe. And it was sort of actually around this time of the evening too, just getting dark, just sort of that dusky period. And a common daker, which is the second smallest antelope that we see, what happened was it sort of moved out of the thicket at quite a pace. Well, did it not set those buffalo into a stampede because of a very small antelope? So I think buffalo tend to get startled much easier than what elephants do. Are you suckling? What are you doing? Let's see if I can just roll back. Let me see if this little one is suckling. Yes, we are. Are we suckling? Can you see that? It's getting a bit dark. No, not anymore. I think it wants to. No. I'm just going to... I'm going to go underneath, Mom. Excuse me, Mom, coming through. Don't mind me. Now you can also see that Benjamin is a boy, not just by his name. There we go. Yes. No, why did you do that? We had such a perfect view and I rolled back. Look there, little one having a suckle. Well, trying to have a suckle, but Mom's too busy swatting the flies, unfortunately, and not giving little Benjamin an opportunity to have a drink. This is beautiful. So everybody, I don't want to roll back now. We're getting to that time of the day where unfortunately I'm going to have to say goodbye to you. And it's been so much fun this afternoon. We had a wonderful sunset. We had many elephants. And I just want to say a goodbye on Jamie and David's behalf. Unfortunately, they couldn't be with us to say goodbye. But cheers from me. And I know Xander wants to say goodbye too. And we will see you bright and early tomorrow morning. Have a lovely evening.